The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
We have seen a lot of disgraceful Jet performances during this playoff drought, which is about to reach 15 years. But oh my God, was today an absolute disgrace.
Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
This team is an absolute abomination. There is no other way to describe what we are watching. This team has provided the most painful experience I think any Jet fan has ever felt. I don't know if it has ever been as bad as what we are going through this season. Jets lose, by now you know. If you were paying any attention to this channel, I had the title for this video, this postgame show, I had it up at halftime. You knew they were done. I mean, even using the word embarrassing to describe how pathetic this performance was by the Jets is insulting to the word embarrassing. It's actually insulting to other embarrassing performances other teams have. Like, there's no amount of words that can accurately describe how pathetic this football team is. I hate them. I really do. There are very few teams in my lifetime as a sports fan that I have despised more than the 2024 New York Jets. This team is unlikable. This team makes you question why we spend our Sundays, or this year Thursdays, or this year Sunday nights, or this year Monday nights, living and dying with this team when they clearly don't give a you-know-what. Because how else do you explain when your season is on the line today, you come out in the first half and you play the way the Jets did in this game? You play the way this defense did in that opening half. And really, it was the entire game. But specifically, the first half tells you all you need to know about what this team is. They are frauds. They are pathetic. They are a laughingstock. And they deserve all of the national lambasting that is coming their way. They deserve all of it. All of it. 9 days to prepare, and that's the performance you put out there in this game today. That's what you do in the first half of this game. And, I mean, forget about the fact that the Jets actually had some things go their way in the earlier games today. You go back to Thursday night, you got a Bengals loss. Then, in the early window, you got a gift from the gods that the Chiefs somehow stole that game against the Broncos. Block kick on a 35-yarder. Colts get destroyed by the Bills. Jets win today, they're a game out of a playoff spot. And not only do they not win, you knew early on they had no chance. They turned Kyler Murray into the greatest quarterback to ever lace up the cleats and play in a game today. I mean, that's what it looked like. This defense, which once upon a time was a strength of the team, is a joke. They are soft. They don't tackle. They are undisciplined. I mean, how many times is Javon Kinlaw going to do something dumb on a football field and never be held accountable? How many times is Michael Clemens going to not set the edge until he's actually held accountable? How many times is Sauce Gardner, I'm not calling him Sauce anymore, he's a mod until further notice. How many times is Ahmad Gardner going to miss a tackle? And that 3rd and 6 missed tackle when the Jets at the time were only down 14-6 was a huge moment in this game. This team does nothing that you could point to and say, at least they did this today. This was a disgrace from the opening drive by the Cardinals when they went right down the field. And this Jet offense, we'll get to them more in detail coming up, but they're not blameless here either. They were lifeless. They were lethargic. Looks like they checked out. I mean, I'm glad Rodgers could throw a quick out route when the team's down 25 points in the fourth quarter. Oh, did he look great on those passes? It's just, what a joke, man. What a joke. And we understand that this team was poorly coached going into the year. But Jeff Ulbrich is in over his head. 1-6 now. This team is in the last 7 weeks. Ulbrich, I believe, is now 1-4 as the interim. And just like I suspected all week on this show, the game against Houston last Thursday night, that was not real. That was a mirage. We've seen this from the Jets. Today's game was the exact same scenario we had a year ago when the New York Jets went out there and beat the Texans to end a 5-game losing streak, and we had some false hope. Hey, they could go down to Miami. If they win, they could get to 6-8. Then Rodgers comes back, and wow. Remember that? They went out there, they lost 30-0. You knew in the opening drive of that game, they were cooked. It was the same thing today. This team, when they have more time to prepare, they never win. They come out flat as a pancake. They did it already this year against the Broncos after the last time they won on Thursday Night Football. This team, with its season on the line, gave you that kind of performance. Tells you all you need to know. And here's the reality for this pathetic franchise that for some goddamn reason we continue to support. They got a clean house. They don't have a general manager. He's gone. Nice to see Mike Williams score a touchdown today, by the way. Who could have saw that one coming? I mean, you just got to laugh or you cry. I mean, it's unbelievable. They don't have a GM, as we know. They don't have a head coach. The interim head coach has got to go. It's not all his fault. He's in a tough spot. But let's be real. I have a better chance of being this team's head coach next year than Jeff Ulbrich does. He's done. He's done. And there's a good chance Aaron Rodgers either retires or the Jets got to think about just releasing him if they're going to bring in a new GM and coach. And you spread out his dead cap hit over the next 2 years. It'll be $14 million next year, $35 in 2026. Or if you're going to go full rebuild because of how bad this might now get, because who knows, at 3-7, who's going to be checked out on this team? Then you just think about just cutting Aaron Rodgers and taking a $49 million dead cap hit all next year as your rebuild. You could have a rookie at quarterback next year, I'm sure. Who knows? That's what we're talking about on November 10th. Seriously. And here's how pathetic the Jets are, right? Even if you never bought into the fact, hey, this was a Super Bowl team, right? Did you really think when they made the move to go get Aaron Rodgers that we would still be looking at these graphics? I mean, think about how pathetic it is for this franchise. The next closest team that has the active playoff drought, as long as the Jets, is Denver in 2015. By the way, they won the Super Bowl that year. I think every Bronco fan is okay with how it's gone if they guarantee a Super Bowl. But think about it. Denver's probably making the playoffs this year. Then it will be Atlanta. Well, they're a playoff team. And it'll be just the Jets and the Panthers with a 7-year difference. Think about how pathetic this is. And there's no end in sight. You have no faith in this ownership group to hire the right head coach. And it is going to be Woody making those hires. For those saying he's going to go overseas, he will. But that's not going to be till February at the earliest. He's going to be involved in this coaching search. You have faith in Woody Johnson hiring a GM and coach? He's never done it. And you could say, well, he hired Rex. Actually, no. Mike Tannenbaum hired Rex. Bill Parcells had an infrastructure in place that led them to Herm, that led them to Mangini, that led them eventually to Rex. There are people in place that knew what they were doing. Since Woody fired Tannenbaum and then eventually fired Rex after the Izig debacle, he has never been able to hire the right people. And I'm going to put faith in him being able to get the GM and coaching hire right this time around. How could you? It's why I've said throughout this year, this season has done irreparable damage to this incredible fan base. Irreparable damage. Because you have no faith now in this organization. The last faith you had was going into this year. A team that won 7 games last year without a quarterback. How could they somehow be worse? The answer? Because they're the Jets. That's the only answer. I mean, forget being in the mix. This team's closer to the top of the NFL draft than they are the playoffs right now. They got one more win than the team that has the number one pick in the draft. That's the Giants. There's a lot of 2-8 teams out there. The Jets are just as bad as some of these teams. They really are. And I laughed all week. Oh, they're going to beat the Cardinals and go on this run. Man, what evidence do you have for this? You got to see it. You got to see it. So I know a lot of you are probably expecting me to scream and yell and be angry. I expected this. I bet on the Cardinals today. I picked against the Jets on the show this week. I didn't think it'd be this bad, though. And this just shows you all you need to know about this team. They are soft. They are unlikable. And once again, the fan base obviously cares way more than the players and coaches do, because this was a nightmare from the beginning. From the second James Conner picked up 45 yards on the opening goddamn drive and went right down the field, you knew it was going to be that kind of day. And then the Jets, to their credit, actually had a good drive of their own until they got to the red zone. How many times have we seen that? I mean, what a joke. What a joke. It's just, I mean, first half of this game, I wrote it down because, I mean, it's almost impossible to believe how bad this performance was in the first half, because that's where the game was lost. We could talk about how it didn't get better in the second half. I mean, 6 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. 10 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. 10 plays, 49 yards, field goal. If the Cardinals had more time at the end of the first half, that also would have been a touchdown. 24-6 at the half, and a must-win game to keep your season alive. Let's be real. I thought the Jets were done the second they lost to the New England Patriots a couple weeks ago. But to keep any fake hope alive, they had to win today and then win next week and be 5-6 at the bye. And you know what? With the state of the AFC, they actually would have been alive. They would have been. I wouldn't believe it, but they would be. And that's the performance you got. I mean, how many yards did the Cardinals get after contact today? What a joke. This was one of the most pathetic tackling displays I've ever seen by the Jets, and I've seen them in the Adam Gase era. I've seen them at the end of Rex his last year in 2014. That defense stunk. We saw them when they quit on Bowles in 2016, how bad that team was. We've seen some bad football teams, man. Salah's first year. This defensive performance today is right up there with any of them. I mean, wow. Then I'm seeing the quote from Jeff Overich. Something was off in the preparation for this game. That implies that they actually prepared for this game. Something was off with the preparation. Coach, I mean, you fooled me. I didn't think you guys prepared at all. What a joke, man. What a goddamn joke. Joke. Once again, I knew this game was over at halftime, as did many of you. And they didn't even give you the classic fake Jets comeback. If you remember, I predicted they come out, they're down 17-0 early. Jets end up losing, 23-20. I said that on the show this week. Like, I can see the classic Jets, West Coast, extra time to prepare. That would be the game script, right? They would lose. A joke that they were a favorite, by the way. A joke. And they didn't even give you the fake comeback. They were so dreadful in this game. We didn't even get that. It really is incredible. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. Because I'm at a point now where it's just anything that can go wrong, I now think will go wrong. I will never, ever go into a year with the optimism I had for this team this year. I am an optimist by nature, not anymore with this team. You can't. What a disgrace. If you're watching the show live right now, first off, thank you. I'm sure many of you are done with this team after today, so we'll see you in the offseason, right? We'll see you for the GM search. We'll see you for the coach search. Before you get out of here, do me a huge favor. If you're one of the 2,000 people in here right now, subscribe to the channel. We hit over 40,000 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, whenever that was. Thank you to all the Jet fans for your support. I'll be here every day, twice a day. Somehow I make my living doing this in addition to being on ESPN New York and Mad Dog Radio on Sirius, but this is my main job, so I appreciate all the support. So if you could hit the subscribe button before you check out on the year and we see you later, I really appreciate it. Like the video as well. That helps. And if you haven't already, join my Patreon, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Get in that Discord and we can all commiserate together. And your $5 a month goes a long way in supporting me on this channel. But I want to thank everyone because I'm sure many of you will be gone after today's show. And you know what? Can I blame you? Can I blame you? Unreal, man. Unreal. Comments, questions, super chats. They will cut the line. Let's get into it, man. I have more thoughts on the game, but, I mean, you all watched it. They suck. They showed no fight. They quit. They're poorly coached. I mean, actually, they were poorly coached with Robert Saleh. With Jeff Ulbrich, they were by far and away the worst coach team in the league. By far. This coaching staff is an abomination. They make no adjustments. They're never ready to play. And the idea that it was just going to change with Ulbrich, yeah. I mean, maybe you get that dead coach bounce. We saw the Saints win today. The Jets, by the way, are the only team, though, that can't even get the dead coach bounce. All these other teams fire their coach. They win the first game. The Jets go out there and lose a brutal backbreaker against the Bills. and that was all she wrote. Unreal, man. At least we have a kicker. Hey, had a couple field goals today. Leave it to the Jets to finally hit field goals when it doesn't even matter. Only the Jets. Dre with a super chat. He starts us off. Jake, Woody needs to clean house now and get Rex. I don't think Rex Ryan is the answer right now. Do I think Rex will get an interview? Yes. I think they need to get the GM hire right. And that GM needs to get the right coach. Because this is a general manager problem too. The way Joe Douglas, by the way, completely destroyed this defensive line, he should never be forgiven for that. Hexen says, Murray really used the Jets defense to set a franchise record for completions. I'm disgusted. I mean, Kyler Murray today became the first player in NFL history to complete 85% of his passes with 250 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, it was embarrassing, man. Embarrassing. What happened to this great secondary? Oh, look, Sauce just missed. Oh, sorry. Ahmad just missed another tackle. Tony Adams just missed another one, too. Jalen Mills. I mean, the missed tackling today. Name a Jet. They all missed tackles. It was insane. David, team's pathetic. Drew, the moment we all found out that every single 1 o'clock game would go our way, I knew the Jets were losing. If you're a true Jets fan, you knew it too. I mean, look, I thought the Jets would lose today. I said it all week on the show. Show me. Prove it to me. Because I've seen this too many times, right? Big win, come out, flat as a pancake. And now you combined big win last Thursday with 9 days to get ready, which should be good for every team in the league besides the Jets, and West Coast opponent. You knew the Jets were losing. If you were a real Jet fan, you had to have seen this coming. The result, not the way it happened. And that's why this team is so pathetic. Not that they lost. How they lost today tells you all you need to know about how this organization is currently being run. Tyrone says $700 to drive down to Arizona, tickets and hotel, and I don't even get a touchdown. Huh. Well, I'll tell you what, Tyrone. A year ago today, I did the same thing as you, only it was in Vegas. Didn't see a touchdown. And that ended the Jet season that night, too. So for the second year in a row, the Jet season is basically cooked at the same time. Because today is the 1-year anniversary of the Raiders game. Aaron says, when Ahmad got dragged like a dog, I laughed. I mean, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Anything that can go wrong with this team basically has gone wrong. Verdine says, season's over. Tank and start fresh. Oh, yeah, Sauce is poop. Tankathon.com, baby. Get ready. We're back. Storyline, let's be honest, though. We knew this was a tough game. Cardinals are serious, especially at home. Every Jet fan, it would need to be a miracle. Fire Ulbrich. You're not firing Ulbrich. He's the head coach for the next 7 games, and then it's over. It's over. Daniel says, wow, had been flying all day. Cannot believe this. Oh, believe it, baby. Wrong verb. This is the Jake Asman show, not the Jet show. I beg you to start covering the Knicks and other New York sports teams on the channel. Ha! I'll tell you what, I'm on the radio on ESPN New York from 4 to 8 on Sunday if you want other sports stuff. But I've done other sports on this channel, and I will continue to add some content here or there. But we're still talking Jets every day. Daniel writes in, sorry for the season, but glad I found the channel. Daniel, I appreciate you. Hey, huge shout out to Board Fat. I'm just seeing this now. I mean, the least we could do, as bad as today is get some memberships out there to people. So, Board Fat coming through for the people with, how about it, a 10 spot.
Get your ass off my Super Chats. Some of these are gifted memberships, too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
If you got one from Board Fat, thank him. He's coming through for you. Nothing but nets. I doubt the Jets even make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't think so, Gary. Dre, Woody needs to apologize to the fans. I thought that shot of Woody just sitting there by himself in the suite was telling. Oh, did I want to know what that man was thinking in his noggin? You know, see, Woody's got a pretty good gig, right? He could just quit on his team and go overseas. We're going to be here watching it no matter what. I don't have a president appointing me to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and volunteer my time and watch this crappy product year after year. JB, you're immense, Jake. Fire everyone. Thank you, JB. Drew, until we make the playoffs, I'll never believe. I get it, man. I get it, because if they're not going to make the playoffs this year, when are they making the playoffs? First off, the AFC is not any good. So this was such an opportunity for the Jets. If they were just anywhere close to the team they were last year, from a special team standpoint, defensive standpoint, even this depleted version of Aaron Rodgers would have been good enough. But they're nowhere near that team they were a year ago. They're not. Defense is so much worse. I don't need to tell you guys how many games they've lost because of their kicker. They have not had this elite running game we thought they were going to get with Brees and this improved O-line. It's just, I don't think Aaron Rodgers has been great this year, but he hasn't been good enough for what they now need him to do. He's had moments. He gave you the half last Thursday. He gave you the Pats game. Should have had a game-winning drive against New England, but it's not good enough. He's not the same guy. I didn't think he would be. I thought he'd be better than this, but the whole premise of the year was he didn't need to be elite Aaron Rodgers. Well, now he does because the team's not good enough. The team we thought they were going to have, they don't have it. Defense stinks. Stinks. It's just it's mind-boggling how we are talking about a 3-7 team. That was 2-1, by the way. This team was 2-1. They kicked the crap out of New England in the home opener, and it felt like we were finally going to have a year, man. No one's saying Super Bowl, but at least be a playoff team. Unreal. Forever Ron. Is it all over, Jake? Hand holding gun is shaking. I mean, the season's over. The pain as a Jet fan has only just begun, though, man. It never ends. Joe, Jake, we may check out on the team, but we'll never check out on you, brother, as Maniacs Forever. Joe, I appreciate it. Thank you. If you're watching live right now, we will commiserate all together. Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. We hit over 40,000. We have the biggest Jet YouTube channel in the world, and that's a testament to the audience, so thank you all for that. Michael says, you're great, Jake. Thanks for your effort. Does this team practice tackling? Can't wait to hear Joe B tomorrow. Joe will be coming on tomorrow. Time TBD. So if you're a Patreon member, check the Discord. It's either going to be in the morning or the afternoon show. I'm working it out with Joe. Right after this, I got to call him. But Joe B will be on tomorrow, so be ready for that. And thanks for the super chat, Michael. I mean, when Obrick says he didn't have them prepared today, something's off with the preparedness. That implies they actually practiced this week, Michael. Unbelievable. Bo, find the witch doctor that put the curse on this franchise and beg for forgiveness. Ask for the Rodgers voodoo doll back. Kevin, bad GM, bad fire coach, bad interim coach. Now the players quit. The 2024 Jets are creating worse memories than anything the Kotite era did. I mean, this almost hurts more in some ways, right? I don't have memory of the Kotite era, but I can tell you about the Gase era. It didn't hurt as much as this does because I knew that team was trash. I rooted against them in 2020. Once they got to 0-4 that year, I wanted the Jets to lose every goddamn game. I wanted them to go 0-16 so badly. I wanted Adam Gase and Christopher Johnson, that bumbling moron for hiring him, to have to wear. And get ready, Chris is coming back, to have to wear that. I hated it. Hated that team. Hated the way everything was being run. And I started to buy back in with Douglas, Saleh, and the core that we felt like they built, and they just needed competent quarterback play. And what's criminal is at times I've actually had that competent quarterback play, and it's worse than it's ever been. It's just, it never ends. American football fan, my G-men are on track. Keep running the play. The Giants suck as well. Congrats. Kyle says, winner of the game was Mike Williams. Yeah. Mike Williams today scored the same amount of points as the Jet offense did. Well, and when I saw Mike Williams catch that game-winning touchdown for Pittsburgh, I laughed. I really did. I'm like, of course. Of course. Once again, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, or even worse, you might kill yourself. I think that's how depressing the season has gone. I hate to be bleak. I don't say this lightly, but that is how depressing the season is. It has reached that level. Jim with a super chat. In one season, Joe Douglas took an elite defensive line and destroyed it. If we knew it would happen, why didn't he? I don't think we knew it would be this bad, Jim. But the GM's got to wear it. And he's gone, man. I mean, I saw this tweet from Joe Caporoso. I guess he ran the numbers. Joe Douglas now is 30-63 over 93 games as the Jets GM. He has a lower winning percentage than both Mike McCagnon and John Izek, despite getting more games than the both of them combined. Think about that. Now, Joe's a better GM than those guys. That's not the point of the tweet. But it just shows you how bad it is. He's not that much better from a win-loss standpoint. He was going to get this year for this team to win. And not only is this team not going to win, they're not going to sniff 500. Forget the playoffs. They're not going to sniff a winning record. Mark, thank you for the super chat. Here's another one. Mental damage Jets cause their fans is real. Yeah, I mean, I will continue to say it because I believe it's true. I have heard from more Jet fans that have canceled their season tickets than ever. I have heard from more Jet fans that just have lost their excitement for being a fan of the team because of this year. Like, how could you ever get excited again going into another season? How? You could be cautiously optimistic, I guess, at some point. But you ever going to be happy and look forward to a year like we did the last 2 years? This is worse than last year. Last year, it got ripped out right away, but you knew what happened. This year, you don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know who the Jets should hire at GM or coach that's going to fix this. And even if I give you some names I like, you think Woody's going to get it right? I don't. What confidence should I have in that? Vincent, Ahmad Gardner's decline is staggering. Yeah, look, I can't explain why Sauce Gardner went from one of the greatest corners we've seen through 2 years to a guy who, when he's out there, he never makes an impact play. And the tackling is such a liability now. I mean, you almost hope that Sauce is dealing with a real injury here, and that's explaining some of it. Because if he's actually quote unquote healthy, and this is what we're getting from Sauce, I mean, what do? You can't. And people are going to say trade him for what? Trade him when his value is this low? No. Hope a new coaching staff can come in and revitalize the talent he has. I guess. I don't know. Storylin, no injuries. We should win our next 4 and be 7-7. Storylin, I want to thank you for the $2. I really do, right? Without you, I wouldn't be able to do the show, the super chats, the channel memberships. It is what allows me to talk about this crummy team full time, right? That's where most of the revenue from the YouTube channel comes from. But unfortunately, this comment is so bad, so stupid, that I'm going to refund your $2 and send you to the hole because your day is done.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Seven and 7. 7-7. I love it, man. And I'm having a threesome with Margot Robbie and Kendall Jenner. I mean, we're just throwing out scenarios, right? Unbelievable. Sorry, family show, but I got a kick out of that. Unbelievable. Oh, man. Pooch guy. They hurt me so much. I'm close to rooting against them. Yeah, I mean, look, I guess technically they get that, that ninth loss, root for wins, but like, they're so unlikable, man. They really are. You almost want this to be as embarrassing as possible. It's such a disgrace. Benny, we deserve better than this. Blind and dumb. Secondary can't be good when the D-line gives up 10 yards to carry. Got rid of JFM and Q. Now they have to defend an impossible amount of time. It's on JD. Yeah, it's on Joe Douglas, but not just for the D-line. He hired the head coach. The biggest moves Joe Douglas made, they were not just bad moves. They were spectacularly bad moves. Robert Saleh, Zach Wilson. Next. He's gotten 6 years. Joe Douglas is going to get 100 games as the general manager. He should go. If Woody keeps him, he's not serious. He's not serious. I heard people say, well, Woody said the team is the most talented team in 25 years. And that got me thinking, would he actually keep this guy? I don't know how you can. Barring this team finishing 8-9 somehow, which I don't see happening. How is there any argument to bring back this general manager? You have to clean house. Have to. If Rodgers wants to play next year because he's under contract and play here, the only way you're even considering that is if your plan is to draft a quarterback and he's going to sit until, the Jets are out of it next year at some point, then that guy's going to take over. That's the only scenario because you're no longer making any moves about all in the win this year. You made your moves. It blew up in your face. You're 3-7. Purple Belt Mike writes in, Jets have F me. 28 players on expiring contracts. We're in for a long couple of years. Sell everything for 2026 draft assets. Bar for art starts now. Mike, I love you, but no. See, the Jet fan has been taught to believe bullshit that rebuilds take many, many years. You're told, well, you got to rebuild. It takes time, this and that. It does not. The Houston Texans went from a joke to a legitimate Super Bowl contender in a year. In a year. They got the coach right. They got the quarterback right. The latest example of this is the Washington Commies. They were a joke last year. Second overall pick of the draft. Now they're a Super Bowl contender. How? Got the coach right. Got the quarterback right. I'm not saying the Jets are going to be able to get it right because I have no faith in ownership to get it right. But don't believe this. Well, now they got to do this long rebuild. It's going to take many years, right? Joe Douglas inherited a horrible situation, and he did. But he got 6 years to turn it around, and it's never been worse. So he's not the right guy. Someone else has got to get the opportunity. It's a waste of breath to even say fire Ober. He's gone. He's not going to be here. This is now about the general manager being gone as well. If Woody Johnson has any balls, he's already starting to contact people about potentially being the next general manager for this team. He's consulting with any football people we hope to God he might have in his life that can help him here. Robert says, no one seems to have any fire, including Aaron. Embarrassing. Curly says, leaving the stadium now. Franchise effing hates me. Hey, a great job by the Jet fans who were there. I know a lot of Asmaniacs who made this trip. And once again, I will use a line I've used 7 times and counting on these postgame shows. The Jet organization does not deserve the Jet fan base. Ja says, Tanner Eggstrom, next head coach. Tell Chris he's the guy. Champy, Cardinals' most talented offensive team in the NFL. They are not. They are a good team. The Jets made them look like the 1999 Rams. JC, Jets are soft as F. How can fans still show up? Because we're addicted. Now, I'll say this. If you're a Jet season ticket holder or you have tickets for this Colts game and you're not using them, email me them, asmanjake@gmail.com, and I will make sure they go to a Jet fan who could take a young kid or a family member, go to their game. Unfortunately, we're at that point of the year again in November, but we gave away 47 tickets to the Halloween game against the Texans, and a bunch of people had forever experiences that night. Sons, daughters going to their first game. So as bad as this year is, and it's bad, if you're not using your tickets, you want to donate them to a fellow Jet fan, so maybe they could take someone to a game for the first time. I usually can't afford tickets. Send them my way, and I'll do my best to distribute them. Well, at least try and find some positive to this mess. Big shout out to Daniel Malcolm, who donated a channel membership. Big shout out to Ran, who gifted a channel membership. Chat's going crazy, so if you guys got a membership, make sure you thank them. It's just $5 to pay it forward. We're always seeking more memberships on the channel. Appreciate all the Asmaniacs. We're going to add some new emojis this week because we got to get some hilarity on this channel now that the season's cooked. Nat Call says, this team told us who they were in game 1 at Niners. Quarterback who could still be dangerous but had limitations, and the defense has taken an enormous step back. Well, to your point about the first game, a problem that has plagued this team all year has been the run defense. Jordan Mason ran through them opening night. We chalked it up to week 1. The run defense got a little better after that, and since Salah got canned, it has been one of the worst run defenses in the league. And today, can you even call it defense, what the Jets played today? Mike, do you want Rodgers back next year? I got to see how the next 7 games go. That's kind of how I look at it. He's under contract. So if he's back next year and he's essentially the bridge quarterback, because I'm drafting a quarterback in the first round. I don't know who that is. But I got to take a flyer on someone. But I don't think Rodgers is here next year. I think he retires. I don't think he's going to go through this with a new coach and new GM. I could be wrong. Maybe he doesn't want to go out this way. But gun to my head, who's the quarterback for the Jets next year? I don't think Aaron Rodgers. Sean says, I can't wait to finish 7-10, draft the guy we all want, win the offseason again, and then convince myself that we will surprise people next year. Yay. Look, I know that will be the case for some of you. I don't know if I can go that far right now. Seriously. Like I'm in I got to see it to believe it mode. I'm tired of sticking my neck out trying to defend this team. I really believed in this team this year. Really did. Believed in the talent. Thought the coaching was going to be better with better quarterback play. And this team's 3-7. Disgrace. Dr. Frank writes in, Jets are flaccid, even Viagra, Cialis, Blue Chew, or Hims couldn't get them up for the game. Ladies and gentlemen, a message to all.
Calm your freaky down.
We continue. Daniel writes in, step aside Woody or Christopher. I don't know. I don't care who it is. Hire a president of football and a real head coach / GM and allow them to run operations. I don't know what the solution is in regards to that, Daniel. The football president of football ops, how's that any different than hiring a GM? Hire a good GM and hope that guy can hire a good coach. That, to me, is the philosophy the Jets need to enact. How they find that GM, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I'd start with people that have been in the front offices of some good football teams. Like the Lions assistant GM, Ray Agnew, I believe his name. That's someone I'd call right now. Cincy Matt, I didn't watch the game, but looking at the stat line, why is Aaron Rodgers immune from immense scrutiny? He deserves scrutiny, Matt, but the problem was this game was lost in the first half. The defense no-showed the first half. They were down 24-6 at halftime. Rodgers is not blameless here. He wasn't very good. But once again, this is kind of what Aaron Rodgers is at this point. He'll give you great moments, great halves, like what we saw against the Texans. But he's no longer the guy that can carry a team to a win. He can't. He was not supposed to have to do that with his Jets team. That's what's so frustrating. But he's not immune to any criticism. You want to blame the quarterback? Blame him. What do I care? The greatness of Aaron Rodgers was not with the Jets. It was with the Packers. So what do I care? I'm going to defend Aaron Rodgers at this point? I'm going to blame him? Blame him. He's not very good right now. He's okay. He was great for a half last Thursday. Thankfully, I could say I've seen the only great moments of Rodgers' Jet career. I was in the building for the home opener against the Patriots. I was in the building with 155 Asmaniacs in section 128 and 129 last Thursday on Halloween. That's it. Those are the two moments we got. Ken from San Diego with a 10 spot of channel memberships for the people. Ken, you are the absolute man, and we thank you for your memberships.
Now, give me money. Or I shoot him. And I shoot all you motherfuckers. And then we take it. Your choice, bitches.
John with a super chat. Can we find a way to blackmail Woody? He's definitely said some vile bleep at some point. So you want a Donald Sterling Woody. That's one way to do it. Good luck with that. Modelis, if at first you don't succeed, fail and fail again. Man, tough to argue that one, huh? Here's another great saying I truly abide by in life.
You know, thinking is overrated.
So is winning. 25 says mock drafts in November. Woohoo. Get ready, baby. This offseason is going to be ridiculous. New GM search, new coaching search, probably a new quarterback search, draft, potentially a quarterback search. This team was supposed to contend for a Super Bowl this year, I thought. Pooch guy, I'm fearful no one will want to come GM / head coach wise. It's still one of 32 at the end of the day. That's not the concern. The concern is that you're going to hire the right people. By the way, you might have both the Jets and the Giants looking for GM and coach at the same time. When was the last time that happened? Because I think Shane and Dable are in a lot of trouble right now. I do. Metro Funny with a 5 spot of channel memberships. Yeah.
I think that guy I know, right?
Neil, unfortunately, that video was a great moment for a night and a representation of the best night of the Jets season because it hasn't been great since. Thank you for the memberships, Metro Funny. Party with Peg and Artie. 2 things that suck the most. They made me not care about any coach or player, and that all the talking heads we sent to the realm were right. Yeah. I mean, you can't defend the Jets. How could you defend what we saw today? Once again, this fan base cares way more than this team does. Embarrassing. Dre, time after time, we keep hiring bad GM and coaches. Yeah, and what's so frustrating with Douglas is it really felt like after 2022, he was the guy. And it just hasn't worked. And he's had enough time. He's going to get 100 games as the Jets general manager, and they're not going to come close to sniffing the playoffs. You have to clean house. Vinny says, losing JFM and Huff was the death of the D. A-Rod is a virus. I guess we get to watch Golden Girls marathon on Sundays now. I mean, saying Rodgers is a virus, I think is stupid. He's a 40-year-old quarterback who does not have the team we thought he was going to have around him. Has he been good? No, not good enough. Certainly not today. But did you watch this Jet defense in the first half? Game was over at halftime. The title for this video, once again, was made at halftime today. If you don't believe me, I tweeted out the screenshot at Jake Asman on Twitter. Hoodie Allen in the house. Jake, would you ever reconsider your Jets fandom? No, I wouldn't, Hoodie. What, am I going to root for another team at this point? No, this is my team, and unfortunately, I live and die with it. Now, am I as mad now as I normally would be after a loss like this? No. They already beat the losses out of me, man. This season has taken years off my life. They have beaten me to a pulp. I'm not screaming and yelling. I'm not. That was for the Patriot game. That was for the Steeler game. That was for the Bills game. That was for losing 10-9 to Bo Nix at home. That was for flying out to London to watch that shit show in person. What can I say at this point? I thought they'd lose today. I bet on the Cardinals. At least I made some money. I mean, it's too predictable. 9 days to prepare. West Coast, Jets off a big win. And they were a favorite today? Yeah. But the way they lose today. Absolutely embarrassing. Embarrassing. Honestly, using the word embarrassing doesn't even accurately describe it. Someone come up with a better word for embarrassing. I don't think there's words to describe how pathetic this is. Jeffrey, super chat, fire sale. Would he clean the mansion out right quick? All the upper management and that old coach too. 40 plus years of this bleep. They're going to clean house, and they should. Verdine says, bricked up, baby. Yeah. I want to hit my head with a brick watching this team. Rat Diddy, disgraceful, waste of our time. Rat Diddy, one of the many Asmaniacs in the building today. Sorry, man. Sorry to you. Sorry to J-Mags. Sorry to Rick. Sorry to the Gotham City crew. Sorry to my friend Alexis who was at this game. I know so many Jet fans who were there today. And none of this is surprising. It's sickening. Jorge gifted 10 channel memberships. Jorge, you are the man. Thanks for supporting the show.
Show me the money.
Show me the money! Money.
There you go.
3-7, man. Jack says this team is even too scary for me. Gustavo, Hassan Reddick, really? Did Hassan Reddick play today? Gator writes in, last week they flexed us out of prime time versus the Colts. Today our defense flexed us into the offseason. Fraud fan Allen is celebrating. Thank God that game is not on prime time. I'll be live on ESPN New York, 8:80 a.m. from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. right after the Jet game. Then we'll do the YouTube show after it. Mustafa, thank you for the $1.99. Ryan King says, would you try to get Jason Garrett? For what? Be the head coach? What?
I mean, Black Bowers is definitely like the greatest player in the history.
No, I would not. Ryan, thank you. From 3Steph Gaming. Start the rebuild. Only extend Brees, Garrett, and Jermaine. I'm sick of this. My son is even sick of it, and he's had a Jet-themed birthday November 2nd. That sucks. I don't know what to say. I mean, that sucks. That's brutal, man. I'm sorry. All right. Send me 3Steph or from 3Steph. Email me your address and your son's t-shirt size, and we'll send him some Asmaniac merch. You know, notice I didn't want to wear Jet gear during the show. I'm wearing Jake Asman show stuff. It is disgraceful to even put on a Jet hat or a Jet shirt and do the show right now. I didn't make my living talking about this team. What am I doing this right now? I don't deserve the passion from this fan base. Daniel Gottlieb with a super chat. I got my friend to be a Jet fan this year. I feel bad. Can you say something to James for me? James, welcome to hell. I hope you brought your sunblock. If you're like me, you need SPF 100. There you go. AJ, thank you for the super chat. Dark Knight Steve in the house. Here's something positive. Thank you to all the veterans out there. Happy Veterans Day. Hey, well said, Dark Knight Steve. Thank you to all the veterans out there. Tomorrow's Veterans Day. Thank you for all you do keeping us safe. USA. USA. I just got back from Canada today, baby. I don't know what was worse. How I felt this morning waking up for this early flight after drinking for 3 straight days on a bachelor party in Montreal, or how I felt watching the Jets in this game this afternoon. Incredible. Military Mike, 2 things could be true. Rodgers trade was the right move, and it's an epic bust. Game has passed him. His offense is stagnant. No motion schemes. No one open. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, right? I have 0 regrets about the Jets making the Aaron Rodgers trade. What was the alternative? When you say it was a mistake, what was the alternative? The problem is they were in the Aaron Rodgers situation in the first place due to the fact they missed on Zach Wilson. That is where all this started. So it has not worked. He obviously got hurt last year, which I think was massive. Because if he got hurt or didn't get hurt in year 1, They probably are having a similar year to what we're going through now. They're a little better because the defense is better, right? Maybe they're 9-8 last year, 10-7. But they might have a different coach. It might be different this year. They might have made some more changes. But because everyone got a mulligan after last year, we're now going through what could have been last year, this year, and now it's too late. And that's the problem. It's just amazing, though, right? When the Broncos had Peyton Manning, they win the Super Bowl. When the Bucs had Tom Brady, they win the Super Bowl in year one. The Jets get Aaron Rodgers. He goes down 4 plays in, is never the same. Now he comes back this year. We're thinking there's more talent on the team. There's not. We have a kicker who can't miss. He's cost them 3 games. No longer their kicker anymore. Like, it's just other teams did exactly what the Jets were trying to do. Yet when the Jets do it, it's not like, okay, maybe they don't win the Super Bowl, but at least they go to the playoffs, right? I mean, this team's not sniffing 500. Frank says, Jake, they stink so bad, even Mando can't help. See, that's where you're wrong, Frank. Now, look, you might have a real issue, right? You stink. But for those of you who aren't Dr. Frank, use Mando deodorant, promo code ASMAN, shopmando.com. Just kidding, Frank. But you're not wrong. The Jets do stink. It is a repugnant scent, and there's no end in sight on when it actually goes away. Ladies and gentlemen, Dark Knight Steve coming through for the people. 10-spot channel memberships, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dark Knight Steve.
Money, 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 money.
Mustafa in the house. It's going to be one of the saddest moments when Garrett Wilson requests a trade to leave this pathetic franchise, and who can blame him? I mean, look, I love Garrett. He can request a trade. He's under contract. I mean, they just don't have to trade him. Brandon Ayuk requested a trade too. You know what it was about? Money. The Jets should absolutely extend Garrett Wilson this offseason. I'm not doing a thing with Sauce. You know, Brees is a running back, so that's an interesting conversation. He's going into the final year of his deal as a second-round pick. Depends on what that would look like. Jermaine's coming off injury. You're not doing him. I mean, it's unfortunate. But, you know, right now it's a mess. But I don't think the answer is you trade Garrett Wilson if you request a trade. That, to me, is silly. Your call's coming up, but more super chats here. NYJ, Amendment 3 didn't pass either. I'm going to end up bald this offseason. Time to run. Joe out of town. Trade some players and lose for a top pick all over again. As the Jets have shown you, losing for a top pick doesn't guarantee anything. So, whatever happens, happens. I'm still rooting for wins until they're actually eliminated. And that's it. A&J says it doesn't get talked enough about how Joe Douglas replaced a bunch of stud free. I think it does get talked enough about. Actually, if you've been following the show, I have ripped this general manager for how the offseason was handled with the D-line. Ripped it. Never wanted Huff to go. Then I wanted Clowney when he was in the building. They let him go. They added Reddick. I gave Douglas too much credit for getting the Reddick deal done. I'm like, oh, well, they obviously are going to work out a new contract. Otherwise, they wouldn't have finalized the trade. And look, the defense sucked today, but you can't tell me they wouldn't have been better off if they actually had Clowney or Reddick from the start at the beginning of this year. But here's the other problem too, right? The defense has taken a nosedive since Ulbrich became the head coach. He stretched too thin. One adjustment I'm making immediately this week, for those of you who do want to hold out on some sort of hope that, oh, they beat the Colts and then maybe they go on a run after the bye. It won't happen, but if you want to hold on to that thought, Ulbrich should not call the defense this week. Let someone else do it. Let Ulbrich be the head coach. Someone else got to call the defense. Because this defense is taking a nosedive. Not that they were great the first 5 weeks with Salah, but they weren't this bad. Maxima, thank you for the $5 super chat. Julio, thoughts on Kingsbury? I'd interview him. You're on the Brian Flores bandwagon. I like Brian Flores. I prefer the next coach to be an offensive-minded guy. However, my criteria is experience. Guy who's had success. So I'm open to Flores at least getting an interview. Kingsbury, second time around. You know, would he do better as a head coach this time around? Maybe. The concern with Kingsbury is he just a good OC or is he a good offensive coordinator? Or a good head coach? I don't know. I mean, Dan Quinn got a second chance in Washington. He's doing great. Big fella. How do we fix coming out flat 9 days off? How do you miss tackles? It's your jam job. Sauce is a cat. I won't say what I think he's insinuating. Brendan Ryan with a super chat. That many red zone trips and we can't capitalize once. I know too little too late, but is it time to go the way of Tyron Smith's injury with Rodgers and see what Taylor can give us? No. No, you're not playing Tyrod Taylor. Now, do I see a scenario where like there's some sort of injury, they put Aaron Rodgers on IR, they keep losing games down the stretch? Yeah. We're not there yet. By the way, play Olu at left tackle every game now. Every game. Enough of Tyron Smith. Enough. Play Olu every game. Josie became a channel member. Thank you, Josie. Ladies and gentlemen, today's Jake Asman Show is brought to you by my friends at Custom Bourbon Tours. Folks, if you're a Jet fan, you're down in the dumps, you need some bourbon, all right? Why don't you go to Custom Bourbon Tours right now and check out what they are all about? They are offering an experience for all Jet fans. They will help you book your trip to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and plan an epic weekend, or I don't know, maybe you want to be there a week. I don't know. If you're a Jet fan, you might want to be drinking bourbon for a week down in Kentucky. But anyway, CustomBourbonTours.com. You guys have heard me talk about it a lot. Liam, the owner of the company, is a diehard Jet fan from the New York area, now down in Kentucky. His business is awesome. They offer luxury transportation to all the stops on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. You'll pick the different distilleries you want to visit. You could customize your tour, and they are going to provide SUV, a Sprinter, limo, buses. However big your group is, they could plan an unforgettable experience on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So check it out. All the info is at CustomBourbonTours.com. If you're a Jet fan, you certainly could use a vacation after watching this debacle of a game today and this season in general. So check it out. Support of Jet family-owned business. CustomBourbonTours.com. All the info is in the description for this video. Also want to shout out Joe DeVizio and his team at Joe DeVizio Realty. Sellwithjoe.com if you're thinking about selling your home and you're in the New York area. 959 call Joe is the number. It's not just selling your home that Joe and his team handle. They really could do everything for you. If you're dealing with payment issues, you're behind on payments, they can help you. Your whole house needs repairs, they do that. If you're dealing with squatters, if you have bad tenants, they do that. Joe and his team are the best at what they do. They'll help you get top dollar in any market, anywhere in the tri-state area, no matter what your situation is or what condition your home is in. Funny enough, I met Joe about a year ago at this time, and he is a diehard Jet fan who's probably suffering like you. So another family-owned business. Check it out. Joe DeVizio and his team. Sellwithjoe.com. If you're thinking about selling your home or any of the other issues you're having, you heard me mention, check it out. All the info is in the description for the video, or as you see on the graphic, sellwithjoe.com. Thanks to our two post-game sponsors, Custom Bourbon Tours and Joe DeVizio and his team. Neil in the house. 3 coach changes. 1 Pete Carroll, 2 Gruden, 3 Belichick. This team will only win with a winning coaching culture. Look at the teams at the top, all proven coaches. I mean, it starts with the general manager hire, though, Neil. John Gruden, I would absolutely interview. Absolutely interview. Offensive guy, had success in the league, got railroaded out of his previous job with the Raiders. I'm giving Gruden an interview. I don't care what the NFL says. Belichick, no thank you. All right, Rex Ryan. I'd rather hire Rex than Belichick. All right, Bill Belichick without Tom Brady has a worse winning percentage than Rex. No thank you. Pete Carroll's an interesting one. The only scenario I could see with Pete Carroll is if, like, you're running it back with Rodgers next year, and maybe, like, Pete Carroll's here for, like, a year or two and is working in tandem. It's like a quick fix if you're trying it next year again, but I don't see it. C, where do we even go from here? Team is in such an awkward spot, man. Even the bright spots like Garrett Wilson, Brees, etc. are not going to want to come back here. Full rebuild seems inevitable. I would be careful with all that. As we talked about before in the show, the Jets are trying to sell you this rebuild is going to take a while in the past. It doesn't if you got the right people in charge. These guys are all under contract. So they could say they want out, but guess what? Doesn't mean you have to trade them right away. We'll see what direction they go. But I don't think it's a full-on teardown. I think there is some talent on this team, and I think this team is the worst coach team in the NFL. This team reminds me of the Chargers from a year ago. Now the Chargers are in the playoff mix because they hired the right head coach. I mean, never forget the 1996 New York Jets were 1-15. Bill Parcells comes in. Year 1, they're 9-7. Year 2, they're 12-4 in the AFC title game. Year 3, they should have been a legit Super Bowl contender if Vinny didn't go down in the first game of the season that year. Let's not lose sight of that. But the Jets remind me of the Chargers from last year. If only there was a Jim Harbaugh available for the Jets to hire this time around. Because the Chargers are now 6-3. Their roster is nothing special. You know what it is? Coaching. Coaching. Maxima. Thanks, Jake, for the vibes this year. I just can't bear this team anymore. So done with anything to do with this sorry-ass team. See you next year. I appreciate the super chat, man. Many of you are going to check out. I've seen this. It's my 4th year doing it. Haven't sniffed a winning season doing this. But I'll be here every day. So before you all leave, please subscribe to the channel. And to all of you who will be here every day, we love you. RB says, poor tackling equals team quit and not motivated. I mean, they're poorly coached. What more evidence do you need? We're 9 away from 40,100 subscribers. So if you're one of the 1,500 people watching live right now and you've yet to subscribe to the channel, click that subscribe button on the right-hand side. Tyler says, this team is soft. F them. They don't deserve us. M. Guz, for the rebuild, who do you keep except GW5 and Hennessy? Thomas Hennessy will be a Jet for life. I mean, I'm letting go all the guys who are on one-year deals. I think it's obvious. Who do I keep? Sauce, Brees, Tremaine, Olu. I mean, you start there. Titman. John Simpson's actually been a nice free agent signing. I'd bring him back. Morgan Moses is tough as nails. I'm bringing him back on a one-year deal if I can. He's still playing fine. He's been good. So that's just the offense. I mean, defensively, Quincy, Quinnen. I mean, you're going to need a new defensive tackle. Goodbye to Kinlaw. Sherwood, I would re-sign. Keeping him. I mean, just sucks because the talent is still there on this team in a lot of areas. But they're so poorly coached that they're just a bunch of names. They're not a team. The Jets are a roster. They're not a team. I think Damian Woody said that a couple of weeks ago. He's spot on. C. Jalen Mills was the only one who didn't quit after the second half. Amazing pickup. Not that it matters, but he deserves his flowers. I like what Mills has provided, C. He missed a lot of tackles in that first half, though. Not his best game today. Now, this is the guy who was picked up off the practice squad and immediately got thrusted out there and has played well. I'm not going to kill Jalen Mills. He's far down on my list of issues with his team, but he didn't have a good game today. He didn't. Nikki James writes in, I'm just deflated. Not that they lost, but that it was a horrible loss. Horrible. I mean, horrible loss is like, the loss they had to the Vikings. That was a horrible loss. This was an all-timer of disaster for the Jets. An all-time debacle. Hawk writes in, Zach Wilson has a better winning percentage as a starter than Saleh as a head coach, JD as a GM, and Rodgers as a Jet quarterback. How about that? Hawk, thanks for the time tonight.
Now look what you've done. Hawk, no more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
Oh, Hawk. Hit the like button if you're tuning in live right now. Appreciate all the support. We're an hour in. Your call's coming up. Guess I did pick a good weekend for a drug relapse and missed the game. Adam G, stay safe, man. Yikes. Brendan. White Cotton should have been calling games from the start. Definitely agree with you. Ulbrich is stretched too thin. Also, maybe should have kept Saleh and kept Ulbrich as DC and just fired Hackett. Yeah. Look, I can't be hypocritical, though. I wasn't anti the Saleh firing when it happened. I thought it was a week early than I thought it was possible. I was willing to okay, let's see. It was a huge mistake. They should not have fired Robert Saleh at 2-3. They should have waited till after the Bills game or after the Steelers game. And in hindsight, the move to make would have been you fire Hackett first because Downing has been better than Hackett. I'm not telling you Todd Downing is Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan. He's not. But he's way better than Hackett. Way better. Snake writes in, Rodgers and Adams are washed up. I mean, I don't know if they're washed up. They're just not what they were. I mean, Adams had a great game a week ago. Rodgers had an unbelievable second half. And then today it's they stink. So they're not what they were. They're the greatest players are consistent week in, week out. They're no longer that. The premise was the team around them was talented enough where they didn't need to be their MVP level selves. That's where I think a lot of people miss the boat. Big fella, the most frustrating thing with this team is we have talent. We all see it, but it doesn't effing work. Most frustrating season ever. It is right there with any disappointing, aggravating, frustrating seasons in any of our lifetimes, I'd imagine. This is number one for me, for sure. For sure. This is one of the most disappointing Jet seasons of all time, if not number one. I mean, I put it right there with last year for sure, 2011, 2016, 03, 99. It's brutal. Julio, Mosley's been a huge loss on the field. They miss his leadership. They miss his presence. They miss his toughness in the run game. They do. Robert, keep Morstead too. Don't forget our best player. Yeah, Morstead, if he wants to punt again next year, I'm in. Julio, I'm good with Gruden. We need a hard ass. I'm at least interviewing him, 100%. All right, let's get to some of your calls. We'll continue with your super chats, but I want to thank everyone who's waited on hold. Ken from San Diego, you're first up tonight, Ken. Thanks for the 10 memberships as well.
Jake, we got to go ahead and do something, right? Someone's got to make money.
I appreciate it, Ken. I'm glad listeners are at least getting memberships tonight.
Hey, a couple of things, I always write up down a couple. I'm reading in the paper about Woody Johnson, and he's going to go to Trump. So we're going to go with Trump somewhere. So we're going to have 4 years of absentee ownership again, which is not really very exciting. I think in some respects, it could be part of the reason why we have some problems now. I don't know if you listened to the coach at all in the presser, but some of the reporters were talking about just a lack of tackles. And his response was, they know. And he also said, this is a really prideful locker room. I got to be honest. I didn't see a lot of pride out there after the team gave up, which, is just sad to see. Our offensive scheme, Dan Orlovsky talks about it all the time. It's like from the 1980s. So when people always talk about how horrible Rodgers is right now, I just don't see any movement. No one seems to be wide open. We can't handle. There's a lot going on there. Clemens. Me and you always talk about that. I mean, every single game, there's a lack of containment. And we knew this quarterback. Every single one of us knew that on that 3rd and 1 from the goal line, that it was going to be a naked QB sweep. And he just always sucks in every single time. And Ahmad Gardner he's just not playing. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. And I really honestly believe that there's a chance we can get the number 1 pick. If you look at how things are going, I know that's a horrible thing to say, but with the wins today around the league, we're only 1 game out of the number 1 pick. So, I mean, I guess that's something, but I appreciate everything you do. Just probably the worst Jets performance I've ever seen.
Yeah, it can. I mean, you go back a long way with this team, and for you to say it, that speaks volumes, man. Great call. It's just, that first half was so awful. You knew they had no chance in the second half. And I thought this game was going to go, and I said it all week, so it's not like he's just saying that. I said it all week. Jets will be down 17-0 and mount a fake comeback in the second half and lose 23-20. That was my feel. I didn't think they'd win today. I thought they'd come out flat, which they did. I didn't see it like this, though. I mean, this was pathetic. 31-6 to the Cardinals. Your season was on the line today, and that's the effort you put forth. Your season was on the line. And you go out there in a must-win, and you allow a 6-play, 70-yard touchdown drive to start. 9-play, 70-yard touchdown drive back-to-back. Oh, but wait, there's more. How about another 10-play, 70-yard touchdown drive? And then if they had more time at the end of the first half, that 10-play, 49-yard drive that ended with the easy field goal, that would have been a touchdown too. 24-6 at halftime. You know, I was screaming and yelling like everyone else when the Jets got hosed by that brutal call where they called an illegal snap and they gave you no explanation as to why. Right? But I'm just mentioning it for the first time now because I don't want to blame the refs for today. That gets the Jets off the hook. They suck. They deserve all the blame. But that was a horrific call. It doesn't even matter. Julio says, Woody leaves bringing Arians as an advisor. If you want to bring in Bruce Arians to help Woody hire football people, I'm okay with that. Ricardo says, Sauce Gardner would look good in a Bills uniform. You would look good in the hole. Goodbye, Bills fans.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
I'll gladly take your $2, though, you Bills fan. See you later. Thanks for being the Colts today. Unfortunately, we suck. How about that? I mean, the season's so bad, I actually had to root for the Bills to win today. It doesn't even matter. And that's what's criminal, too, right? The Jets actually got help. Bengals lose Thursday. Colts lose today. Broncos lose today. Jets would be a game out if they won. But here's the thing, right? It's not just today. It's the other games that led to today. Like, today was a bad performance all around. But you wouldn't be in a must-win spot on November 10th if you beat the Patriots when you played them. If you beat Denver at home when you were a 9-point favorite that day. If you didn't gag away the chance to beat the Bills in Obrick's first game. Like, the Jets, this is why it was always going to be a long shot for them to have any chance to go on a run. Because you started 2-6. You put yourself in a hole where you had to basically play must-win football from November on. Sucks. AD writes in, first I heard brick talk, tackling, practice, year 4. I don't know what that means, AD, but thank you. Kyle Clifton's next up on the Gusbuster hotline. Hey, Kyle.
Thanks for taking me early on in the show. I'm trying to get out of here and get next door to the Thirsty Lion here in Glendale. Across from the stadium, we've got some of our guys over there. I had to take a couple of minutes to come on and talk about the debacle that happened across the street over my shoulder there. These mother grabbers. I can't believe I spent this amount of money to come out here and watch this horseshit. Ridiculous. Rodgers cannot throw the ball more than 5 or 6, 7 yards tops. Soft, Gardner. Not sauce. Soft. You mentioned the officiating. That one call, mind-boggling. No explanation for it. The offense has every advantage. If the ball is snapped, you have to make a call one way or the other. That was not the reason they lost. The right reason they lost is they can't tackle to save their goddamn lives. Infuriating. This might have to become a travel-out show now, Jake. 2 years in a row in the desert. You and I have seen it both. The people of Las Vegas, great time. The people of Arizona, very nice. The people here at the Renaissance Glendale, very accommodating to my friends who can be tough to deal with when they're partying for 3 days. I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm at the point now, Gary was right. This is a nice hotel, but this is what I'm taking out of the trip. I don't know what to do anymore. It's very frustrating.
It's brutal.
But I'm admitting that Gary's right about something. What are we doing here?
I I wish I had an answer for you, man. I mean, the season's cooked. It's just we got to get through this year and then get the January and pray Woody could hire a competent general manager and eventually a coach. I mean, that's where we're at.
The Jets have done an immeasurable service to the rest of the league because you know what? Ulbrich is not a head coach in this league. It's obvious now. Thank you. The kudos should be coming back to us. You don't have to worry about an interview now. I appreciate your time, Jake. I'll talk to you when I get back. I'm not going anywhere during the lean months. I'll talk to you soon.
Kyle, appreciate you, man. Hang in there. I'm sorry you and all the great listeners of this show who in Arizona had to witness that. I've been there, man. A year ago today was the Raider debacle. Don't ask how much money I spent that weekend to go see that one. Huh. Or how much I spent to go to London to watch this team. I was going to go to Miami. I had the ticket. I will not be going to Miami now. I apologize to any of the Asmaniacs in South Florida. I can't do it. I can't put myself through more pain in person watching this team. I can't do it. I will watch every game, every snap of every game, as I have my entire life since I became a fan of this team. But I can't watch this team in person again. I can't do it, especially on the road. It's not happening. Can't do it. Now, I'll say it again. If you have tickets that you want to donate to listeners so they can take their kid or take someone who's never been or wants to use them, I will happily distribute those. But I myself, I don't think I can do it. More of your calls right now. JT's next. Hey, JT.
Hey, man, dude. That's frustrating. It's frustrating because, like, it's been mentioned on the show that we have the talent and we just look like that. Like, that was disgusting. I was with you with not thinking that we were going to go in this game and win. I was trying to pump some optimism in and say we were going to win, but I didn't think we'd get embarrassed by 25 points and just get absolutely dog walked by Kyler the entire game. That was brutal. 2 field goals in the first 2 offensive possessions, and that's it.
Disgrace. And you knew, too, like, I don't know if you got the feeling watching the JT, when they didn't score the touchdown to tie the game right away, that Arizona was then going to go up 14-3 because the defense was so bad in that opening drive. I'm just like, they had to score there to kind of just, like stop the avalanche that you felt coming from the Cardinal offense. Like you knew the Jets were going to have to, we said it on the show all week, they were going to have to score 28, 30 points to win today. And when they didn't get the touchdown there and they stalled out in the red zone, I had a very bad feeling Arizona was then going to go down the field and make it 14-3, and that's exactly what happened.
Dude, we couldn't even get anything going. Like, that's not even a good defense in Arizona. And they were just all over us. It's terrible. You got a drink with you, man?
Well, I got some cayenne pepper with me. I will not be consuming this anymore.
Cheers, man. Holy shit. I'm not gonna be one of them that dip out, you know what I mean? Because the real ones stay for the ride. Shout out to you for keeping it going and everything. And shout out to everyone that spent money in Arizona. Shout out to all the gifters out there. Cheers. Jet up. It is what it is.
JT, I appreciate you, man. Hang in there. It just stinks, man. It's just November 10th. We're doing the postmortem on the season. Now, I do have good news I could share with the Asmaniacs out there. So every Monday after every Jet game, we're joined by Joe Beningo. I can tell you that tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m., so we could get Joe out of there by 10 so we could go hit the golf course, Beningo will be live on the show. 9:15 tomorrow, Joe B in his weekly spot.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
I do as well, as does everyone watching. Once again, if the Jets were actually a real-life relationship, we would have left decades ago. It is the most toxic and abusive relationship one can be in, being a Jet fan. Unbelievable. If you haven't joined my Patreon yet, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. It includes access to the Discord channel where you can commiserate with your fellow Asmaniacs. Discounts on every merch item, 15% off. Bonus shows that are not on YouTube. A bunch of other perks as well, including your name in the intro. Thank you to all the Patreon users. We're about 20 away from 500 Patreon users. So thank you to everyone who supports me there. You guys are the best and allow me to do this full time. Kevin K, 8path, Jerry Moore, Jet Set Go, and Nicholas F, our most recent Patreon subscribers. Paul D with a super chat. Jets need to hire a director of football ops, maybe Tannenbaum or Pete Carroll. Let that person pick the GM and go from there. So if that's the strategy, right, you're bringing in someone in to help Woody hire the GM and coach, I'm on board with that. No to Tannenbaum, but Pete Carroll, I'd listen. Why not? He knows more football than Woody. Ryan with a super chat. Thank you, Ryan. This team played with no effort. The defense was the strength of the team, but it's dreadful to watch. This team has the talent, but we play like a Gase team. I mean, the Jets went from poorly coached with Saleh to one of the worst coached teams I have ever seen under Ulbrich. And I'm not blaming Ulbrich for this. It's not all his fault. But this is where you blame Woody, because he made this move without consulting with anyone in the football operation. He didn't consult with Douglas. The intent was right in trying to spark the team, but we could question if Ulbrich was the right guy to be the head coach. We could say maybe you fire Hackett first and then you see if that changes anything. You pulled the Saleh lever too early. It has not worked. It's unfortunate. But let's be real. If Saleh was still the head coach right now, I don't know how much better this team would end up being. I still don't think this team would do anything. And if Saleh didn't get fired at 2-3, he could have been fired a little bit later on in the year, if not at the end of the year. So it was a mistake, but I think in the big picture, this team is not who we thought they were. So it would not have mattered. That said, they clearly have downgraded that coaching. There's no other way around that. Paul D. Jets already read that one. Hey, shout out to Rick Kent for dropping a 5 spot of channel memberships. You guys are great. Rick, you're the man. More of your calls coming up. Stack writes in, happy birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Happy 249th Semper Fi. Once again, Veterans Day tomorrow. Thank every veteran you know in your life. Ah, man. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. We say hello to the Hamburger on the line. Hamburger, how are you?
I'm good, Jake. It is what it is, man. You know, we kind of seen this coming. This is 7 weeks we've been watching this team.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think they'd win today. I was hoping I'd be wrong. To see it like this, though, it's just like, wow, like it's that bad.
It's not easy to deal with. Listen, I want to give a shout out to Staff Sergeant Robert Galbraith, my father, for Veterans Day tomorrow. So he was in Vietnam, so I've got disabilities and everything from the war. So big shout out to Pops. Listen, Mr. Bonesy, zip it. No more Mr. Bonesy. Don't chat in. Don't tell me how I'm nuts. Joe Douglas is gone. Like, there's nothing you could say or do. It's funny tonight. I sat down and I'm like, I'm going to call in. I'm going to take some notes during the game today. I got my pad. Drop my mic. I got my pad in front of me. And I started writing. I said, first quarter, offsides penalties. We got smoked on a screen pass. Our offense was very balanced. For the first possession, balanced. We go down. Yeah, we got the 3 points. We should have scored, but at least we walked away with the 3 points where we usually walk away with 0 with our kicking. And then next thing I wrote down, I'm like, negative. We had 0 plays for negative yardage on the defense for 2 quarters. And after that, I wrote worst tackling I've ever seen in a Jet football team. And then the next writing was, F this, we suck. And I wrote nothing down after that. There was nothing else to jot down, nothing else to watch. It was what we've seen for the last, minus the second half of last week, the last 5 weeks before that.
It's funny. So similar to you, right? I take notes during every game because I do the show for a living, right? So I have my notes in the first quarter. I'm going through it. And then I looked where I stopped, right? So I do it by quarter here, right? So you'll see on my notes here, it says third quarter.
Yeah.
I don't even have a fourth quarter because by then there was nothing to say. It was over. It was over. It really, you know when this game was over? The Jets got the ball to start the third quarter. They go down and score a touchdown and make it 24-13. You're probably not going to win, but at least you're in the game. Maybe there's some momentum that you could build on. And maybe your defense gets some energy and they could get a stop, and then who knows? They go 3 and out immediately, and then that was it. Done.
I have never seen a team run the ball through the Jets the way they did tonight. I mean, the tackling was, God, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I have no idea, man. Like I always say, they're mannequins without arms. They throw their bodies, their arms are down at their side, and they tackle with their shoulders, and they try to bounce people down onto the ground without wrapping up and tackling. It drives me nuts. But there's one thing that's a positive. I told my kids if we did lose tonight, that tickets are going to be nice and cheap, so I'll be able to take all my kids and my wife next week.
Hey,
so,
hold, don't buy them yet. I'd imagine there's gonna be a lot of people looking to unload their seats. Hamburger. I will make sure we get you some tickets so you could take your family, because that's at least an awesome experience for your young kids.
I appreciate that, but I would prefer if somebody's never been to a game and a family that really can't afford it never goes, let them go to them first, because it'll be all right for us if we can. You know what I'm saying?
That's very nice of you, man. I mean, look, for young kids, they don't know good or bad what's going on right now, so they'll have a good time at the game. Hopefully, the weather's nice.
Oh man, she's never been yet. So my son's been, my wife's been, but my daughter hasn't been yet, right? Yeah. So, but listen, my week still can't get bad. Even though we lost today, we won in another way. So my spirit is still up and up. But listen, man, keep your head up, Jet fans. It's gonna suck. It's time to redo the entire franchise again. It shouldn't take that long. You're right. It shouldn't take 6 years.
No, it
should not take 6 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. 6 years is too long. Yeah, 2 years, 3 years to see a real big difference, and maybe crush the playoffs in your second or third year. After that, you should be in the playoffs. Not 6 years, and we haven't had nothing. Not even a winning season.
100 games of Joe Douglas, and this team is not even going to come close to the playoffs in really any of his years. The best he will do is 7-10, because 7-9 year one with Gase. Like, that's technically his team. He got there in June. Hamburger spot on with his call. Spot on. Great call by the Hamburger. Aaron writes in, hey, Jake, love your show. As a Charger fan, it took a 63-21 ass-kicking by the Raiders for the Spanoses to wake up and get it right and hire Harbaugh and Joe Hortis as GM. Hope today was that day for you guys. Aaron, appreciate the super chat first off. How'd you find the show as a Charger fan? That's pretty cool. It's funny. I used the Charger example earlier in the show, Aaron. I don't know if you were watching then. This Jets team reminds me of last year's Chargers team. Talent, zero coaching. That's been the Chargers, right? The Chargers with Brandon Staley were a joke. They were so much better than what their record is. You know what, though? Brandon Staley at least went to the playoffs. The Jets can't even sniff the playoffs. Yeah, Staley blew like a 28-point lead in the playoffs to Jacksonville that year, whatever it was. But at least they got there, right? It's been so bad for the Jets, they can't even get there. But to your point, I see the similarities. You got to get the coach and GM hire right. Unfortunately for the Jets, Harbaugh would be the obvious fix right now to get if he were available. Who's this year's Harbaugh? Harbaugh represents what Parcells was in 97 of the Jets. He ain't there. Who's that guy this time around? Tyler says, did that in 2015 with Charlie Casserly and Ron Wolf. Yeah, and it blew up in their face. Charlie Casserly had no success anywhere, though, so I never understood that one. Point is, the Jets need to hire good football people. Hopefully, they get it right, because that's it. I mean, we're not going to know for a while. Rick Kent, Jake, I hope at least the Montreal Bagels were good. They were, Rick. Thanks for the memberships again. Montreal's a great city. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I took one of the earlier flights out of Montreal to get back to watch this game today, and we watched that Jet game. Ugh. Luppy says the lack of coaching is obvious. The rest of the NFL knows it, and we're taking it on the chin as fans. When will ownership realize it? I mean, you would hope now. Daniel says, found you from a Packer fan after a loss. Ha. Welcome aboard, Daniel. Cheese Man, just sad how numb I've become. I fully expected this. I'll still be tuning in, Jake. Lost for words. Thank you, Cheese Man. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm angry, right? But I'm not how I normally am after these games. I'm not surprised they lost today. I bet against the Jets. I picked against them. I've seen this exact game so many times. Now, I'll say this. I didn't see it being this bad. I don't think anyone did. I mean, the Jets should be able to score points, and the Cardinals' defense is 24th in the league. They scored 6. The defense should be able to force a punt until the fourth quarter. Disgrace. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Robert C. is on the line. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Jake. How are you? So, did Lance Smell wear 56 for the Jets?
Say it again?
Did Lance Smell wear 56 for the Jets?
Did Lance Mel wear 56 for the Jets?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, just wondering. I think the Jets.
Hey,
I'd rather
Robert,
not them lose.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Google?
Yeah.
You should check it out.
I know I could have Googled it. I understand.
All right. Just wanted to put it out there for you. It's a good website. Very helpful.
Right. I'd rather they not tank, even if they're eliminated from the playoffs. I think you said that last year. You'd rather them win every game. All they have to do is, no matter where they are in the draft, just draft the best player they can find, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like,
I don't want them to lose.
There's no obvious best quarterback they're going to take. Like, just I'm going to root for wins until they're eliminated. Then I'll be indifferent on what happens down the stretch.
I'm not sure there's a great quarterback in the draft this year coming out.
Right. We also don't even know if they're going to take a quarterback for sure. Like, who knows?
Right. Ewers from Texas.
Hook 'em.
Oh, yeah. And you were talking to Gary from the airport, and he said he was in Atlanta, and you asked him where he was going. He said he's going to Norfolk. Me and Tammy watched that later on in the evening. He said he was going to Norfolk, Virginia. So, like, Gary was about 30 or 35 miles away from us.
Wow, you guys could have hung out.
Gary could have stopped over here.
Would you have Gary over for dinner?
Yeah. We think of something to make up.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a good day today for the Jets.
I'd say that's an accurate description.
All right, Jake.
Robert, thanks for the time. BZM became a channel member. Thank you, BZM. Julio says Bill O'Brien head coach. I would not hire Bill. Now, I'll say this. Bill as the head coach with a GM, not awful, because he was not a bad head coach. He was bad when he became the GM with being the head coach. I covered Bill in Houston all those years, from 2018 to when he was fired. He was not a bad head coach. He really wasn't. Look at what Deshaun Watson's been, by the way, since he's no longer with Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien made Christian Hackenberg actually look like a draftable first-round quarterback at Penn State. Bill's not an awful coach. He's really not. He was a brutal general manager. I don't think the Jets would hire Bill, though. I don't think that would happen. We'd be able to get him on the show, though, if he was hired. That'd be one positive. More of your calls right now. I think I know what we need right now. It's been a tough day for all of us. I think many of us are at a loss for words after a game like what we saw today. So let's bring on someone who can make sense of it, analyze it, and really provide us with a perspective that is needed on a day like today.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good. Oh, hi, Jake.
Hey, Lane.
I'm lost of words. I mean, how do you feel about the Jets?
Awful.
I know. I was watching it so much that I just, fell asleep during it.
You fell asleep during the game.
Yeah, I mean, it got boring, but with all the callers.
Lane, your internet still stinks.
Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
Lane, thank you. Let's say hello to Dre, who's next. Hey, Dre.
Hey, Jake. You know what? If it wasn't for this weed drink right here, I would be having a very bad day. But this drink is keeping me calm, is finding me a way to smile still. I don't know. The season's over. I'm going to drink to that. I'm sorry, but the season is over. But, at least we have each other. You brought this great community together. We find a way to get through things together. And I'm very proud of all the things that you've done. Very sad to hear that you had to cut your trip short and came home as quickly as you could just to watch that debacle. This team doesn't have any heart. Us as a community have more heart. And I don't know what needs to happen, but whatever to the future holds, I'll drink to that so long as we keep this community together. Let's go.
I believe you're the one who got me this small bottle.
I did, brother.
So cheers
Drink up.
to you.
Cheers. Awful. Just awful.
Dre, hang in there, man. We're going to need plenty of Dre calls all off season long as we break down GM candidates, coaching candidates, quarterback options. It's all happening, baby.
Draft, all that.
You'll be there?
Yeah, no, I'll be there. I'll be there all the time. I'm going to the game next week, to the Colts game. I'll be there. I've got a friend of mine that I met up here around where I live now. He's a Jet fan. I was over at his house earlier today. We were watching this, and we were just shaking our heads, bro. At least we got good food, good steak. He grilled up some steak, amazing. Tim, huge shout out to you, my brother. But yeah, I'm going with him tomorrow. Next week, we're leaving early. I'll be leaving out of here upstate from like around 5:30, 6 o'clock. Heading down, we're going to tailgate. We're going to have a blast. We're going to be down there rooting our boys on. Hopefully, Joe Flacco doesn't, find the fountain of youth. And we could do to him what the Cardinals did to us, because this was just old-fashioned butt whooping.
Brutal, Dre. Hang in there. I'm glad you're going, though, all right? You'll have a good time.
All right, my brother. Hey, hang in there for Jet fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, a dejected but still lovable Dre on the line. I want to give a huge shout out to listener Debbie Wozniak, who just signed up for the Patreon for the entire year. When you sign up for the year, you save 15%. Debbie, thank you so much for signing up during the show. Appreciate it. For everyone out there who hasn't joined the Patreon yet, please do so. Great way to support the show. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. The link is in the description if you want to make it easy. Also, we're available in audio form on Apple and Spotify. So if you want to take the show from video on YouTube to audio on the go, that's the way you do it. JJ with a super chat. Hire Coach Prime, draft Shedeur Sanders, and trade next year's first to get Travis Hunter. All right. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to date Margot Robbie. I'd like to win the lottery. And are we just coming up with things that are never going to happen? Or, I mean, I'm not anti-drafting Shedeur necessarily because he might be the best quarterback, but I don't want to hire Dion as that coach. That doesn't make any sense to me. M. Guz with a super chat. Gorman head coach, V-Man OC, Bobby DC, Lane Special Teams 2025. We bring on the Lane train who's back with us. Lane, would you be on the Jets coaching staff if they asked?
Yes.
All right. I'm sold. Lane, thank you. Please get your internet fixed so we can hear more insights. More of your calls coming up. I got a couple more super chats, and then we'll get right back to the calls. Willie says, is Jordan Travis healthy? If so, at this point, ready to see what we may have in him. He will not play this year, I was told. Jordan Travis, not ready to play out the entire season. You will not see him. Aaron with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Aaron. Since you asked, found the show after the Jacksonville versus Jets Thursday night game in 2022. Looking for a Jet fan perspective on YouTube and found you. Honestly, you probably need Vrabel besides coaching. The biggest difference in the Los Angeles Chargers is culture. Mike Vrabel is probably the number one name on my list, Aaron. So we're in lockstep with what we would do if we owned the Jets. I would hire Mike Vrabel. Honestly, I'm texting with Beningo right now. He wants Rex to be hired during the bye week to coach the final 6 games. It's just unreal. I mean, what do you even say? These are the conversations we're having right now. Just like, if I don't pause and think about it, it's just like, wow. More of your calls right now. Rob, the Jet fan, is next. Hello, Rob.
Jake. Pathetic. Garbage. Jinxed. Fucking team. That's my one curse. I won't curse again, but it just had to go because this team's a joke and a half. I'm so goddamn fed up, Jake. This game was a real shit show. I mean, it gutted me out like a fish. It was really, really difficult to watch this game, Jake, today. Really difficult. I thought it would be a high-scoring game, and maybe we'd at least compete. Maybe we'd score and match them, like touchdown to touchdown, and maybe either win or lose a high-scoring game, but no effort, no nothing. And you know what? In hindsight, yeah, okay, Allen was right about the coaching and all that garbage. But you know what, Jake? More and more, maybe Saleh needed to get fired, but he needed to get fired at the end of the year, not what Woody Johnson did. I definitely think, like yourself, that it made it worse when he fired him after they were 2-3. Because you know what? Saleh always played good against Buffalo for whatever reason. Okay? And, you know, we're 1-4 with Brick. 1 or 2 more wins with Saleh, and you're talking something different here. At least you still have some hope. Team is flawed. The coaching is awful. I'm not trying to put that type of a spin on it because I know what people are going to say. But you know what? They're definitely worse with this situation because Brick, let me tell you one thing. This guy is not a freaking head coach. And you know what? I'm not so sure he's a great defensive coordinator either. You know, I'm not sold on this guy at all. I hate what I saw today. I'm disgusted, Jake. I don't know how much more of this garbage I can put up with. You know, I'm a longtime fan. If it was up to me, I'd grab Bill Parcells, even in a wheelchair, and I'd wheel him out there. Say, is there anything you could do, Bill? Because those were the days, man. I was like, when Bill Parcells took over for Gaze, and the very first year went 9-7. And that's when I got my daughter Cheryl into it, the girl that you saw on the phone that time when I was going to PA. And then the very next year, they went 12-4. My daughter was like, oh, my God. Dad, thanks that I'm a Jet fan. She was happy. What happened since this garbage now? I mean, we're going on 15 years without a playoff berth. This is getting disgusting, and I'm tired of it. I want Vrabel. I don't want no pussyfooting around. You know what? If they want to hire as a consultant Pete Carroll, I would be okay with that. But you know what? Honestly, Jake, they got to go out, get someone like Vrabel. Maybe Pete Carroll wouldn't be a bad GM. Maybe he could be a GM. I'm not sure. But you know what? This is not working. The culture is wrong. The team seems to be jinxed and flawed. I don't want half of these clowns back next year. I really don't. Well, let's be honest. People like Garrett Wilson, of course, we got to keep people like that. And I want Brees back also, and Jermaine. But there's a lot of these people that got to go. They really got to go. You know, Quinion and Quincy, of course, I would keep. But a lot of these people got to go next year. They really got to go. They're overrated. I don't even know if I want Aaron back next year. I love Aaron for the effort he gave us because he gave us a great effort. He came back to the team, Jake. He gave back $35 million. So for that, I'll always love Aaron Rodgers for doing all that. But you know what? He's, you know, it's like what you said. you're not going to get 2, 3, 4 good games in a row from Aaron. You're going to get a good half, then you're going to get a half that's really not good. And him and Dante just do not seem like they're on totally the same page here. So you know what? Aaron Rodgers of today is a top maybe 20 quarterback. If we had him a few years back, we would have had top 5. We would have had. He's not that anymore. He's not. And with that, we have to go forward. And one other thing I just want to say is, I don't know if I like any of these quarterbacks coming out now. This Cam Ward and you know, Deion's son and stuff. This crop of quarterbacks is not great, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's a crapshoot. Every year, there's guys who look great and they stink. Guys you have no idea about and they're great. I mean, Sam Darnold was so much better than Josh Allen when they were both rookies. Josh Allen's the best player in that class. Either him or Lamar. Lamar was the last pick of that draft class. Some years you get 2020 where you have a Burrow, Herbert, Tua, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Other years you get 2022 where you have Trevor Lawrence, who's mid at best, Zach Wilson, all-time bust, Trey Lance, all-time bust, Justin Fields, bust, Mac Jones, bust. You never know year to year. It's a dart throw. The Jets need to be throwing darts, though. With maybe Rodgers back, or if he retires, Tyrod or a different veteran. You know, Russell Wilson was available for $1.2 million. There could be a guy like that who's out there that is the bridge for a year. Darnold, same thing with the Vikings. JJ says, why not Deion? Look at his coaching staff. The man has no ego when it comes to his staff. Put the best people around him, turns every program around. He's done a phenomenal job at Colorado, JJ. My issue is giving a guy who's never coached in the NFL, who's going to come in with that much hype and attention on him, putting him in New York with the Jets. I just think it's too risky. I need someone more established as an NFL coach. Hire Vrabel. Hire Brian Flores. Hire Cliff Kingsbury. Hire Stefanski if the Browns fire him. That would be my number one, by the way, if Kevin Stefanski's available, because he's offensive minded. That's what I would be looking to do. John Gruden. Like that, I need someone with more NFL experience. I'm not anti. Deion's done a great job at Colorado. He really has. What are they, 7-2 right now? But I'm not hiring Deion Sanders. Mr. J Biz writes in, I blame Jake, Buffalo Jet fan, Green Bean, Boy Green, and every other Jets content creator for hyping this team in the preseason. Had us thinking we're a healthy Rodgers away to the promised land. Shake my head. Ladies and gentlemen, today's dumbass comment of the day goes to the great Mr. J Biz.
Into the shadow realm you go. That's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. This guy is a cancer that's metastasized throughout the entire building in Florham Park. And I don't know why Jets fans can't see it.
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
Yes, blame the Jet content creators who root for the Jets who are excited about this year. Blame us for the Jets being 3-7. Because we could have predicted Tyron Smith being washed after he was a second-team All-Pro last year. We could have predicted Greg Zuerlein going from an All-Pro level kicker the last 2 years to a guy who basically has been cut because he's cost them 3 games. We could have predicted this defense being this terrible after what they put out there the last 2 years. Right. Blame us. Blame us for being excited as fans. I laugh. Joseph Alberti, you're the next moron to Stupid Town. Farewell.
Listen to yourself. You sound demented. Just go away, please. I can't stand it anymore.
You could tell me you thought the Jets were a little overrated. You didn't think they'd be 3-7, Joseph. All I know is I despise you and hope you never watch the show again, because I was just checking all the other spam comments you were making, and I wish I saw it sooner. So I could have done that a while ago. So I'm just getting caught up here. Unreal. God. Ah, the pain. It just never ends, man. It never ends with this football team. Who knows when it will?
We have double Jake
right now. My computer froze, so I'm gonna do a quick reset here on my browser. And then hopefully we'll get right back to your calls here. All the stupid towns, I guess, were too much for little old StreamYard to handle. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in 1 minute.
Lane, what's going on?
I don't think the Buffalo Bills could wear white if the Jets were wearing white. It doesn't make sense. Garrett Wilson and the Jets have a new coach. His name is going to be Nomo Robert Saleh. He also has to keep talking to his players going into the locker room. Attention, please. We have to do better going into tonight's game. We have to play better. We got to move the ball around. We have to focus more. And we also have to do a lot of other passing.
So they need to hear that before week 1.
Yeah, and it's funny how you put me in a suit in the draft and I Wait, you did that? Or you took somebody's suit and put it on me? The pick goes to Knoble out of college. You gonna pick a blue suit for me? What am I, Anchorman? I looked like from that movie, the Anchorman movie. I'll let you go. Bye.
You can't teach greatness.
Thank you to Lane there. Holding it down. Am I back? It says I'm on, right? Am I on right now? No? What's happening right now?
Let's go, baby.
Hold on a second. Am I back? Is this thing on? It kept playing the video, but all right. The chat's saying I'm back. I don't know. I apologize. I don't know. We have random tech issues there. I think we're back now. The show must go on. Let me get to a couple super chats that just came in here. Thank you to everyone who's supporting the show. I promise if you're on hold, we will get to you. But we're already almost 2 hours in here, so let's try and rapid fire through as many calls as we can. Mark writes in, Jake, did you enjoy the East Final yesterday in Montreal? I bet it was way better than the crap we witnessed today. Montreal was awesome, Mark. Tough loss for the Montreal Alouettes, right? The Toronto Argonauts beat them in the East Final. But cool to be there and experience the CFL in Montreal. Daniel says, met you hungover at T-Squared Social with my shirt on backwards. Thanks for not making me feel like even more of a buffoon. Well, I appreciate you coming out, Daniel. It was nice to meet you. All right, let's get to more of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to Alec K, who's next. Hey, Alec.
Hey, Jake, how are we?
I'm hanging in, man. Hanging in.
So, I mean, I think at this point, we kind of had an idea what was coming here. I delusionally took the Jets in my pick'ems just because I was like, let me know everybody else is taking the Cardinals. I'm in second place. I was like, I need a divisional splitter here, so whatever. Took the L. I think I saw you pull out your notebook. I saw somebody pull it out, but I was muted at the time or deafened at the time, so I missed what you guys were saying. But I had like the same shit out for my notes from the game of like everything that I was just like pissed about, everybody I was looking at. And I'm at coaching at this point. I'm just straight up looking at coaching. I know we're talking draft picks, and I know we've kind of talked a few other things, and the GM and who we hire and who we bring in at every level. But I think I've kind of changed my opinion on what's going to be the way forward. Obviously, hiring the GM is going to be big, but I'm really, really interested to see the head coaching decision, and then that will kind of dictate, I think, the success of any pick we bring in at quarterback. At this point, I'm past looking for a quick answer. We need to find somebody who's developmental and can bring us forward. And I've seen some people ask, like, why is Rex not viable? I know some people have talked about it. We've had this conversation before. I just think it makes us so much more unappealing as an organization. Like, it just makes us look like such a joke that why would you come here? For the people who say Ben Johnson's not going to come, or a Cliff Kingsbury, or even a Mike for you. I always mispronounce his last name, so I'm not going to do it on recording. But those are guys that I think would look at us as a joke if we brought a Rex back. But there's so many options out there for who we're looking for, and the thing I think we really need to come down to as a head coach is we need somebody with experience who's still young, somebody who's got an offensive mind but can step back and be a CEO and isn't going to be overly hard on a quarterback, somebody QB friendly but nothing ridiculous, and somebody who can check down on their levels of control and pass off. I really do think like a Cliff or a Ben Johnson should be our top two targets. Aaron Glenn's like kind of sneakily getting up on my radar, but obviously not an offensive guy, so it is what it is. But if it is somebody like an Aaron Glenn, like bringing in somebody like Drew from Arizona who just whooped our ass, I mean, he's young. He turned around that offense real quick. I'm here for it. Even like a Stranovich, however it's pronounced. He's the offensive line guy up in Green Bay. Been fantastic. Offensive line's always been quality up there. Anybody in that division has honestly produced a line that we could go and look at. So I just think we need to start getting ready to start as fans preparing for who we should be talking about as coaches, who should be brought in as a D line, offensive line, and so on. There's lots to be done.
I mean, Alec, they're a long way from positional coaches, though. They gotta get a GM first, then they gotta get a head coach. Like, we got a long way to go before we even think about filling out the whole rest of the coaching staff. Long way to go. Still 7 games left in this year. I haven't even hit the bye week yet. God. Just unreal. Let's say hello to one of our favorites. The great Leanie in North Carolina is on the line. Hello, Leanie.
Oh, Jake. Okay. I'm going to be like a little Neil. So first I want to say it was a pleasure meeting you. Oh my God. When I saw you at the Halloween game.
Best part of the whole night was meeting you, Leanie. It was
great. How many
great.
times did I hug you and tell you I whispered in your ear how much I loved you? It was and meeting all the other Asmaniacs, everything else that I can't even describe in words how wonderful that trip was. And just thinking about it, like I want to cry right now. It was so wonderful. Thank you, everybody that was there. Okay, now let's get down to business. Okay. All right, going into this game, I didn't think we were going to win. But I didn't think we were going to be humiliated. I was worried about Murray and his scrambling, and I was worried about Connor with his rushing. Murray had 3 rushes for 21 yards. Now, I know he had 2 touchdowns. I'm not looking at that. If you're just looking at, okay, well, Murray had 21 yards rushing. Connor had 12 carries, 33 yards rushing. Just looking at that, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, wow. The Jets probably didn't do too bad. No. It was a team effort. They had, receiving, Connor had 80 yards. McBride had 71. And then I have never heard of this Benson. He had 67 yards rushing. I never heard of him. Like, I had no idea if the Cardinals defense was good or not. Like, I just never really concentrated on them. But it was a team effort. The whole team just dominated us. And what really got me was the missed tackles. Now, we've had this.
Leany, I love you. The internet was acting up on you at the end there. But everything you said is spot on. The tackling's a joke. And to your point, you never heard of the backup running back on the Cardinals till today. How about week one? It all started week one, right? Jordan Mason. No Christian McCaffrey. Who's this Mason guy? Boom, he killed him. Horrible. What a great call by you, Leany. And let me say this. Leany is one of the nicest people that I've ever had the privilege of meeting doing this. So great to meet her husband, her son. They all came to our tailgate with Gotham City crew at Halloween night. Man, at least they won that night, right? At least they won Halloween for those who were there. Mean Mug says, Jake, my son and I were at the game. Embarrassment. I mean, how many times have the Jets, the last 2 years in particular, played a road game where they didn't score a touchdown? Today, last year against the Raiders. It's insane. Last year, I got the double whammy. I went to the Chargers Monday night game, didn't score a touchdown. Raiders in Vegas didn't score a touchdown. I mean, just embarrassing to not score an offensive touchdown in an NFL game against the 24th ranked defense. Pathetic. Tristan's up next. Hey, Tristan. You're on mute, Tristan. You are on mute. We'll come back to you. Let's say hello to Phil, who's next. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Jay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's up? So, first of all, I want to use that opportunity to, say a big shout out to all my European Jets fans. I myself am German, and I've been a fan of that franchise now since 2016.
Oh,
the most
man.
successful I've ever seen was a 7-win season, and somehow I got my brother, who's 21, into this. And I know many Germans and many European fans they're suffering. And look, I mean, you guys watch these games at 7 p.m. or something, at 8 p.m. We guys watch it at like 2 or 3, right? I may live in the United States now, but that's how it used to be for me. And let me tell you, like, what we sacrifice for this franchise and what we receive back in return, I mean, I am a complete loss of words right now. Like, Jake, I don't really know what to do. I mean, I will always stay a fan, but right now I just feel so numb. Like, I'm not even enjoying football anymore right now. And it's a shame because I love the sport. Like, I do enjoy still college football a bit, I guess, but I don't even want to watch Sunday Night Football today. I have no clue. I don't even care about my fantasy football team anymore. That's how pissed off I am actually with this team. I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. I could tell about. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the reason why we suck. I actually don't think so. It is coaching. It is the entire franchise. It's so many pieces. It's not just Aaron. So all of these people who say all the time it's Aaron Rodgers' fault, you guys are clowns to me. Absolutely. But yeah. Besides that, I mean, I just don't know how to go forward right now. I don't see a good future.
Yeah, Phil, I mean, hang in there, man. It's just, you got to hope they hire the right people and they can turn it around. You know, we're watching the Texans and Lions play right now. Wasn't that long ago the Lions were picking in front of the Jets. The Texans were picking in front of the Jets, right? The Sauce Gardner draft class 2022. Look at the draft order that year. Look who picked 2. Look who picked 3 in that draft. That's 2 years ago. Those organizations got it right at coach and quarterback. That's where it starts. But really, it's like it's so much about the head coach and the staff he hires. I thought Aaron would be able to play better than he has, but there's been moments this year where he has played like what I thought he'd be, competently, and they still have lost these games because the team we thought they were going to have is not the team they have. They don't have the running game I thought Aaron was going to have. They do not have the defense, not even close to it. This defense is terrible. I don't care what the metrics might say. This is not a top 10 defense when you have a game like today. Forget it. I will not defend this defense any longer. Your season's on the line, and you come out like that in a must-win game with 9 days to get ready. You come out that flat? A joke. Absolute joke. All right, more of your calls right now. Let's try and get to everyone. Let's say hello to this guy.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course.
Hi, Jake. How you doing?
Hey, Bob.
I'm happy you had a good time at your bachelor party, though. That was great.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend, and then the Jets started.
So you had to fly from Montreal to see that crap of a team, right? So, do you enjoy the subways in Montreal?
I didn't take any of the subways in Montreal.
Oh, you should check them out. They're so clean in there. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, the Jets, I don't know what to do with them anymore. I don't know. My Giants don't look good either. They're horrible, too, both of them. So, yeah, let's see what we could think of. No positive at all.
Well, they made their kicks today.
Oh, big whoop-dee-doo.
There's a positive.
Oh, whoa. I'll get excited on that. Let's party naked down the street. Yeah, we'll go on that. No, I had to end my stream like before the third quarter started. I just couldn't watch anymore. I was drained out. But I want to come down to meet Addison December 1st. Michael does not definitely want to go.
All right. Well, I hope you make it to MetLife Stadium.
Yes, I will.
The Jets are undefeated when you're there, so they probably need you next week too to have any
Well,
chance.
I got a problem. You know what happened to my channel, so I don't know how I'm going to get down there. So,
what is your channel being taken down by YouTube for someone accidentally showing porn, or not accidentally? This guy sabotaged your channel. What does that have to do with you being able to get the MetLife for next week?
Well, I need to get paid from YouTube. I'm one of that because of that, you know what, creature.
Yeah.
But I started my new show today, so I was happy about that.
You'll get enough subscribers in no time.
I hope so. Well, it's up to 69 though. That's pretty funny, huh?
Oh yeah, very.
Well, Nick thought it was hilarious. 69. Yeah. Okay. I'm heading to bed. I am exhausted. I had a bad day. I had a bad since Saturday, Friday, Saturday. So
well, you get some rest. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. You too. Bye.
Well, you know, I need to walk more to survive unless Jake is going live. Gotta elevate my leg. I'm Bobby.
More of your calls coming up. Super chat from Paul. What's Rich Kotite doing these days? He would be an improvement over what is there now. I mean, I joked that they should bring in Gase for the opening drive. I mean, they would at least score with Gase. Jets, by the way, have yet to score an opening drive touchdown this season. Still. Motivational Mean says, Jake, we hung out at the steakhouse a year ago looking for A-Rod. We're still looking for him. I went to San Fran and left embarrassed again. Yeah, I mean, that was a debacle. That wasn't really on Aaron, though, that night. Defense sucked that night, too. They couldn't stop the run, similar to today. Only today was so much worse. So much worse. I actually thought Rodgers looked pretty good week one. He just didn't have the ball a lot. Just brutal. Luppy's next. Hey, Luppy.
How you doing, Jake? What a freaking disgrace.
Disgrace.
Right? What a joke. I mean, what are we doing? It seems like I had a flashback of Coat Tight, right? And then Hess saying, I'm sick of losing. We're going to hire Coat Tight. It's the same thing with Woody did. He fired Saleh. We have no coaching staff, so let's cripple it. All right? What are we doing? I mean, obviously, Ulbrich needed Saleh because they were better with Saleh on the defensive end. Even though they didn't do anything on offense, he wasn't a head coach, but he supported the defense. And now here we go, having Aaron Rodgers now. Seems like he's wrong in all his thinking on his, because, they gave him the offensive game. This is what we're going to do. Yeah, take it, Rodgers. Let's see what you can do. And he looked lost. They look lost on offense. I mean, to have this talent and not to do anything and not score a touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals. What are we doing here? It's crazy. I mean, Woody just is clueless. I thought he was okay when he, his brother, screwed us up with Gase, but obviously our owners stink. And that's where it comes from. I will always bleed green. I will always root for this team. We'll be 1-10 and nothing, and I will root for them. But God, give us something, please. Something.
I know. It was supposed to be this year, Luppy. This was supposed to be something, and that's what stinks. When I just saw the stat, the Jets missed 20 tackles today. 20. Tied for the most by any team in a game this season. 20 tackles in a game that you needed to win. This was a must-win game. How do you play that poorly? I mean, it is just a joke. Ricky NY is up next. Hey, Ricky.
Hey, how's it going, Jake? You know, this game was just, I don't even know what to say about it. And I'm surprised it was only 20 tackles. It was bad. Just, our guys just don't wrap up. They bounce off of everybody. The yards after contact for them had to be insane. It had to be the majority of their yards. And that was just pitiful. And I'm starting to think it's a conspiracy. I think the Jets just win once in a while so that the next loss will hurt even more. Because I really, really thought that we turned a corner after last week. And then to come out today the way that it was, I was like Bobby, I was out at a sports bar watching the game and I walked out at halftime. I had enough. I came home and watched the rest of it. And I do have one question though, because watching the game there, I could see the game, but they had sound from the Philly game on. What happened with Kyler Murray fumbling that snap that we recovered, and then it just couldn't be challenged? I couldn't hear the explanation for that, but
you want to know the explanation? There wasn't one, Ricky. It was ridiculous. Now, it turns out that play obviously would not have mattered, but it was 14-6 at that point with the Jets getting the ball potentially, and there's momentum all of a sudden, and they never gave an explanation. They never said why the snap was no good. They ruled it dead and never gave any reasoning. The broadcasters had no idea. The referees never explained it in the stadium to the crowd. They called it an illegal snap, but we don't know why it was an illegal snap.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I had a feeling there would be some bullshit explanation like that, they whistled it dead. And since it wasn't clearly recovered by anybody, that means the offense keeps it, or some stupid thing like that. Because I saw, Ulbrich was wanting to challenge it, but I guess they told him it couldn't be reviewed. But okay, I didn't know if they had given an explanation for that or not. But, and I mean, I know that the game didn't hinge on that play necessarily, but it did really kind of seem like the momentum kind of shifted even more after that. Maybe it didn't pump them up anymore, but I think it deflated our side more when that happened. But I don't know, it's been such a disappointing season after having such high hopes. I got my tickets back for the Jacksonville game and I was considering not using them or giving them away. And I actually decided after watching all you guys on Halloween that I am going to go to that game, but I'm only going to meet the other fans and hang out with them. It just happens to be at the game. I'm not going. Well, I'm no longer going for the game. I'm going to meet all you guys and hang out with you. And it just happens to be at the game. I could say that I hope we win because Jacksonville stinks, but I'm not. I don't have any expectations anymore.
It's tough too right now, Ricky. Now that's a winnable game, and I do think the Jets are going to win some games here down the stretch. They'll probably finish 7-10, right? That'd be very Jet-like. But I mean, it's just, at this point, if you're going to the games, have fun, tailgate. Hopefully, the weather's been, continues to be good at these home games. It was great on Halloween night. It was great for the home opener. I know it sucked for the Denver game. The weather for most of the home games has been pretty good. Hopefully that holds. That's about it. You know, Jacksonville in December, I'd imagine the weather's not bad, so you have that. Big thanks to Luppy for gifting 5 channel memberships. The Lup Man delivers with a 5 spot. Let's go, Lup.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
Beningo texted me he wants Rex to coach the team after the bye week. I said at least it'd be entertaining. Obrick, you had your audition. We're bringing in Rex for the final 6 games. It'd be entertaining. Speaking of entertaining, we say hello to the great Peter Castro, who's on the line. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Jake. How are you, Jake? I will continue watching your show, but I will not continue watching this slop fest. All right? First of all, the game starts, all right? And we all know that they won the toss. So instead of taking the ball and trying to put points on the board right away, they defer and put that rotten defense on the field. They make absolutely no sense. And then when you got a chance to maybe stop them, Sauce Gardner puts on his act. He gets shushed off like a fly, and the guy goes for a first down. All right? I knew right there and then that this game was over. Right there and then, I knew this game was over. Aaron Rodgers is doing the dot and dell back there now. If you watch his footwork, it's really good. He can't throw more than a 5-yard pass because he wants to get rid of the ball so fast. But it was a total team effort on how they lost tonight. They just absolutely stink. They're not coached properly. It's obvious. And this kid that was coaching the Cardinals looked like he was about 15 years old. All right, and he's out coaching them like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely absurd that I got to watch this shit. You know, they don't even put an effort in. There's no leadership on this team. Who's the leader of this team? There is no leader on this team. Nobody grabs the bull by the horns and says anything. I mean, it's just a joke. And then you hear Ulbrich, oh, we got to play a little better. A little better? What are you doing, crack? I mean, they stink. They absolutely stink. There's no effort. And you can't tell me that they don't have the roster to win, because they do. They just don't have the coaching staff. It's diabolical, this coaching staff. It's terrible. It's so bad that I've never seen anything like. They were worse than Rich Kotite. It's just horrible. They got some good players. They just waste them. I mean, I hope they break up this team. I mean, I agree with you that they should keep the core, Garrett and Brees and Jermaine and those guys. But a lot of these guys got to get them out of here. Tyrone Smith, he can't block anybody. He's terrible.
No, they need a complete overhaul in some areas of the roster. There's no doubt. But I completely agree with you. This team is way better than 3-7 from a talent standpoint. But they to me are the worst coach team in the NFL. I think at this point we've seen enough of a sample size from Saleh to now Obrick's had 4 games, or I think it's 4 games or 5 games now, and they are the worst coach team in the NFL.
They're not coached. What did they do for 9 days?
And Peter's gone. Peter Castro, no. Oh, Peter's back. Peter, hello.
Yes, their defense. For instance, they still had a shot. It was like 3rd and 15. And the tight end is wide open, 20 yards down the field. Nobody's even near him within 10 feet. I mean, it's just, the stupidity just continues and continues. It never ends. And like I said, Jake, I'll always watch you, but I don't know about that. I could care less. They killed my whole football season. I could care less about football right now. And my only other enjoyment is watching the Giants lose. That's it.
I mean, it's just brutal. Peter, hold on. Your internet keeps dropping out, but I do know you were in the hospital the other day. How are you feeling? Everything okay?
I'm getting a little better, yeah.
All right. Well, yep. I'd imagine being in the hospital was better than watching this Jet game today. So I know we know you have the toughness in you to handle whatever. And he's gone. Peter, we'll get you on again soon. Having some internet issues. Luppy writes in, Rex, in effect, I'd watch that. I would as well. At least it would be entertaining for the rest of the year. Do I think the Jets would do that? No. Man, they should let a fan coach one of the games. Why not? Let the lane train coach the Jets for a day. It's so frustrating, man. Like, I didn't think they were going to win today, but it's just like a game like today, how they lost. It's just like, wow, they're so far away. That's what I think hurts. It's like, wow, all these teams in the AFC lost. So what? Jets can't handle their own business. You know? I laughed last week. Oh, they're going to beat Arizona 5-6 of the bye. And it's like, you realize this team just lost to the Patriots before that second half against Houston. They're still that team. And what's so disheartening is when they were losing some of these other games, they weren't getting blown out in any of them. The Steeler game looks like a blowout. They were up at halftime in that game. That wasn't a blowout. Today, they were never in the game. It was never competitive. The only time this game was competitive was before kickoff when it was still tied. Once we actually started to play football today, they never had a shot. And this has been the same team in the same spot that has done this how many times under this regime? Big win. We get excited. This is a turning point. And then flat as a pancake immediately in the next game that follows. And this was like the triple threat of doom for the Jets. More time to prepare. Off a big win on the West Coast. And they got their ass kicked. And I'll tell you what, they'll probably lose to the Colts next week because Jonathan Taylor will run it down their throat a lot. I don't know. In good conscience, I can't pick the Jets again right now. I mean, I don't care who they play. Lane says, I thought the Jets were going to win today. They let down the Lane train. That's what kills me. And Lane, to think some people were talking about playoffs this week.
Playoffs?
That's right.
Playoffs?
People said it. Luppy, Rodgers looks lost. Not what I thought. Yeah, I mean, he's no longer able to engineer greatness by himself. I think that's obvious. But I think the offense they run too, like, it's killed him. And he hasn't had the running game we thought he was going to have. The defense is not what it was. It just stinks. Ladies and gentlemen, the big fella with a super chat. Thank you, big fella. Thanks to everyone for the super chats tonight. I truly appreciate it. It's going to be a slow month. They only play twice this month, and they're 3-7. So all the support is awesome. Big fella says, if we were serious about winning, we would have cut Zerline. Amen. Picked up a defensive tackle at the deadline. Amen. And fired Keith Carter. Amen. Season ticket holders, Woody wants his money November 15th. What a joke. I will never tell a Jet fan how to spend their money. If you're a season ticket holder, you go to the games. God bless. Have fun. Enjoy it. But I would simply ask this to anyone who's on the fence. Why would you give this franchise your money right now? If you want to go to any game next year, right? Just buy tickets on the secondary market. Because by November, you're going to be able to get into the building for $10 again. How much are tickets going for next week? You could probably get a good seat in the lower level for under $100 right now. Think about what the season ticket holder pays in advance for all these games. And your money is never actually worth it. Because you're never getting a home playoff game where you'd be able to buy that at face value. You know how much money a home Jet playoff game would be if they ever did win a division and played a home game for the first time at MetLife in the playoffs? It'd be insane. But that's the benefit of being a season ticket holder. You get face value seats. If you're a Yankee fan, Met fan, you get playoff tickets. Knicks fan, Ranger fan, playoff tickets. Face value. You don't get that with the Jets. I mean, they should be paying you, big fella, and all the other season ticket holders to go to these games. Like, what's the benefit of being a Jet season ticket holder? Like, the home opener is sold out? Just buy tickets on the secondary market. It's not like the Jets give you all these perks of being a season ticket holder. First off, they railroaded this great fan base in the PSLs. You know, what's your season ticket holder package? They gave you a yearbook this year and like some like discounts on Jet wine. Literally wine bottles, discount. That was it. Like, I'm not a season ticket holder, but if I were one, I'd cancel my seats. I'm not giving this franchise money. You have no idea who the GM is, who the quarterback is, or who the head coach is next year. Why would you commit to season tickets for next year already? Honestly. In some countries, watching a Jet game at MetLife is considered cruel and unusual punishment. And they want money now for next year? You can kiss my ass if I were a season ticket holder. Leany says, insane. I know it's just the first half, but Houston's outplaying the Lions. Jets outplayed the Texans any given Sunday. Ugh. Because you know what the Texans are? A team that's well coached, so they're able to bounce back. Meanwhile, the Jets have any sort of adversity, and they fold like a cheap suit. That's the difference. Houston also has Nico Collins back, which is huge for them. One last call, and then we wrap up a 2.5-hour postgame show. If you're tuned in late, Joe Beningo, Joe B, will join us at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow. Texting with Joe a little bit after this game. I can tell you he's in a great mood. Let's say hello to Devin. He's up next to wrap us up tonight. What's up, Devin?
What's up, Jay? First and foremost, it was awesome meeting you, brother. I want to give a shout out to Lainey, Jay Graves, Bobby. Bobby sung to my daughter because it was her birthday on the 27th of October, so that was kind of nice.
That was awesome.
That was very awesome. I loved that. That was a great time. Her first game was a Jet win. Yes, I'm talking to Jay. Yay. She's right here. She's supposed to be good and taking a bath, but
hey, hi, Elizabeth.
Say hi. Hi. So anyhow, couple of points, man. I'm not even as mad as I was, in previous Jets loss. I'm like so numb to this right now. But on the real, I think I would like to see a real coach. I need somebody to like hold everybody accountable. I think we've been saying this ad nauseum, but like Aaron Rodgers, I can't wait to see Fialco break this down this week because I'm watching the game real live and I'm seeing Garrett open. I'm seeing, Adams open, and I'm seeing Aaron not pulling the trigger. Like, I don't know what's going on with him mentally, but there's something there with him. And I don't, it's just befitting that we would get him on a decline. Like, even Brett Favre was better than this. You know what I mean? Like, so that was really eye-opening for me. And to not see him be able to just pull the trigger time and time again and sitting in the pocket, because he had some decent protection. And I think Fialco was going to break that down. Like, protection was pretty good. Our run scheme is horrible. It's not on the running back. It's on our run scheme. We have a horrible run scheme. We have players that continue to make the same mistakes, and we keep leaving them in the game. How many times is freaking Tarzan play like Jane going to not be able to hold the edge?
I think, Devin, I think these are all coaching points, man. I think this is all a coaching problem. And, like, the defense missing 20 tackles, it's like, that's on the coaching staff not having this team ready to play with 9 days to get ready. How do you come out flat with your season on the line with extra rest? Like, how does that happen in a game? Look, I never thought this team was making the playoffs when they started 2-6, but at least give us some false hope. Get to 5-6 at the bye. How do you come out and you start the first half like that? One bad drive, all right, you shake it off real quick. They allowed Kyler Murray and that offense to do whatever they wanted the entire first half. The title for this video was done at halftime because I knew exactly where this game was headed.
You're right, bro. You're 1,000% correct. I'm not going to disagree now, but I'm going to still keep watching. I'm going to still keep supporting you through these times. And I know people are going to drop off. I feel them on that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I appreciate when you there in the off season and you pushing out content for us and you keeping us, motivated with this. I'm kind of pissed off. Like I wish I hadn't bought my tickets for that December 8th game. If I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna support Just Media. I hadn't met Richie before, so I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna support him. I already bought my plane ticket and everything. My boy live out there, so it's gonna be a fun trip in that regard to see my boy and hang out with him. He's my best friend, so that's gonna be cool. But damn, man, it sucks. It's like this is I couldn't have imagined this. Like if this is what I thought the season was gonna be, I wouldn't have invested in going and paying for, tickets to go to Miami and all of that stuff, man. It's so disheartening, man. It's just like we keep getting our heart broke time after time after time. By the way, I wanted to make this point. Like we've talked about wanting to draft a quarterback next year, and I kind of have a different take on that. For me, I kind of want to see what Jordan Travis is. Like honestly, like he's been sitting for a year. This kid was awesome at Florida State. I'm not saying that he's going to be the be all end all, but can we see what he looks like and let him have a shot at it? And if he sucks, guess what? We have a better draft pick. Because guess what? This is not going to be done overnight unless we get a real good head coach in here like a Vrabel. Because Vrabel is going to hold. I'm tired of Aaron. I feel like Aaron is holding our team hostage in some manners, right? And I don't really like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like we need somebody that's going to say, "Hey, this is the place we're going to run. This is this coaching staff. This is the scheme. You could be with it or you could not be with it." Because at this point, like it can't get any worse. So
Well, for sure, but I
I
think this year was all about like you have this window. Aaron hadn't played yet. Like you built the team around him. You have to see it through. To your point, now you're no longer building for going all in with Aaron Rodgers. It's if he's here next year, he's the bridge quarterback to either Jordan Travis or someone they draft. I think that's where we're now at this point. I don't think Rodgers will be here next year. I think he retires. The Jets just outright release him because they're going to be doing a quasi rebuild with drafting a quarterback, and maybe Tyrod's the bridge for next year. He's under contract,
I'm with that, Jake. I'm with that. Anyway, bro, I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me some time, man. And you have a great rest of your night. I'm off tomorrow, so I can't wait to tune in and hear what Joe is saying. I'm usually tuning in the background because I'm working, but like Joe B is gonna be going off tomorrow, and that's gonna be quite entertaining. And but I don't want Rex for a head coach, bro. I love Rex. I don't want him to be my head coach because you know what? I don't know. I need an offensive mind, man. We need a real offensive mind to unlock Garrett. Garrett is a beast, bro. He's a beast. We got really good offensive talent on this team. And why are we not using Malachi? I'm not gonna go there. You know what I mean? Like, all right. I'm not. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate
Devin,
you.
I love you, man. Hang in there, dude. We all feel your frustrations. I mean, I think Rodgers missed Malachi on one of the plays late in the game. Rodgers was not good today. It's just, I think a game like today, though, is so much more than just Rodgers. It just shows you how poorly coached this team is when you come out the way they did. Honestly, the defense playing as poor as it did kind of moves. Rodgers was not good today, but it moves him down the list of like the things that really stand out right away from this game. It stinks, though, man. I mean, it's just, all you need to know is this team, with their season on the line, gave you that first half, and then never was in the game. Mackenzie's watching the show. I watched the game while eating dinner and lost my appetite watching them play. Honestly, if I ate food during a Jet game, I would have puked it up everywhere. It would have been grotesque. I mean, this was a puke-worthy performance by the New York Jets. Horrible. Brutal. What did you have for dinner, though, Mackenzie? I'm sure the 2,791 people watching across Twitter and YouTube want to know. And is that mustache you have on you in your Twitter picture real? Luppy says, oh no, we suck again. When did we ever not suck? That's the problem. I guess when they were 2-1. Nick Shine writes in, we need more Thursday games. 2-0, baby. He's right. The Jets are 2-0 on Thursday nights, and with today's loss, 1-7 on all their days of the week. Unbelievable. Michael with a super chat. Not only is the season over, but I have no idea where to turn to in terms of GM, head coach, and QB. Jake, do you have any suggestions? Not yet. I mean, I want Mike Vrabel. Quarterback, I have no idea. I have not done any work on any of these quarterbacks potentially coming out. Nor did I plan on having to do it. I don't know. It's crazy. GM-wise, coach-wise, I mean, Ray Agnew, I'm intrigued by. The Lions assistant GM with Mike Vrabel. Kevin Stefanski, I would love. GM's a lot harder. I think the coach for this team is actually more important than the general manager, at least in the immediate future, because I believe the roster, at least the core of it, a decent chunk is still here next year. And I think with better coaching, this team is not 3-7. Perhaps they're 7-3. This team stinks, though, man. I'm sorry to all the great Jet fans. We thought we were going to get something way more than this. We really did. I never could have imagined this season being like this, ever. To be doing a postmortem on November 10th, 3-7. It's just, wow. Tom A says, depends what you were having. I had beef empanadas and was able to finish them. Shout out to Tom A's. I just ordered some chicken parm, Tom, so I'll be able to finish that because the Jet game is long over. Rick Kent with a liner of all liners here. Sorry to all the great Jet fans and 25. Kent versus 25. The rivalry continues. David says all 17 games should be played at home on Thursdays. I mean, if the Jets could play Thursday night every week, fine. Seems like the only day of the week they're functional. I was wrong about a lot of things with the Jets this year. I'm the jackass who thought this team was going to win the AFC East. But the one thing I was right about is everyone was complaining about how they had 2 Thursday night games. And I said, you know what? That's actually a good thing. Because the home team has like a 57% chance to win at home in the lifetime of Thursday night football. And if you were going to have to play Thursday night twice, you'd rather it be at home. But the only thing I was right about, it was good to play at home. Roger says, Jake want to laugh. The Jets are favorites next week. That's because I don't know if you saw the Colts today, but Joe Flacco looked like Jet Joe Flacco. God. Dre Day says, maybe if we take the logo off our helmets, that would work. You know, it's a great point, Dre Day, because I said this a lot in the offseason when we were talking about why we believed in the talent. I was like, if you remove the word Jets from the helmet and just look at the names, look at the roster. It's one of the more talented teams in the league. Problem is, we can't remove the word Jets from the helmet, as we've learned. They're still the Jets. And that's what hurts. And to quote our guest at 9:15 tomorrow morning, you can change uniforms. You can change the practice facility. You can change the stadium. You can change the head coach. You can change the quarterback. You can change the general manager. But it's still the same old Jets. Unreal. Lumpy says Jets win on Thursday because they don't think. Woody Johnson's favorite day of the week, Thursday.
You know, thinking is overrated.
Amazing. Michael says, hey, Woody, way to raise ticket prices and most likely hightail it to London. Here's the thing with Woody going to London. He ain't going to London till February. He's going to be involved in this coaching hire and GM hire, for that matter. John writes in, they're not that talented. Bad safety, no tight end, bad O-line. That's not true. They are talented. The O-line is not nearly as bad as some of you think. It's really not. It grades out to be about an average offensive line if you look at it. They're not great at safety. They were decimated in injuries there. This team is more talented than 3-7, John. All right? They had a functional kicker alone, they'd have 2 more wins. But today they just bailed it in. Oh, the pain. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. You guys are awesome. There are, you know what? I just got a text from the great Nick Shine who wanted to call in. He said, did you take the link down? I did, Nick, because I was going to end the show. But for you, I will stay on. So Nick Shine will be our last caller. Great Jet content creator. Handsome fellow. We'll check in with Nick, get his thoughts on this debacle, and then we'll wrap it all up. If you're one of the 900 people still watching, hit that like button. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. I want to shout out listener Dan Malcolm, who became a Patreon member. So we added Debbie and Dan during the show. It is patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. If you want to join the Patreon, get access to the Discord, bonus shows, all that and more. Nick Shine. Join. Click link in description. I'm extending the show for this guy, and he won't even call in. Dre Day says, we miss number 11. They do miss Jermaine. Absolutely. This defense should not be this bad without him. Joke. They do miss Jermaine. I don't want to act like, I don't want to minimize that. That's a big blow. You should not miss 20 you know what? I don't have it in me. You should not miss 20 tackles in the game. I can't. One last call. Ladies and gentlemen, he's already at MetLife ahead of next Sunday's game. Nick Shine joins us now. Hello, Nick.
I'm going to tear this place to the goddamn ground before next Sunday. They're going to have to move it to like Philadelphia or something.
Damn
horrible.
Right.
Absolutely horrible, man. Horrible. It's embarrassing. The scheme, the everything, the play design, the lack thereof, the fact that we got to milk the play clock to 0, that we just don't have plays that are drawn up to run and attack. It's got to be, okay, you do this. And the defense is just like, oh, they're all running 4-yard hitches. Okay, our safeties are going to fly up and make the tackles. There's no attempt to open up the defense. And when he does throw one deep, it's off 1 foot, escaping the pocket halfway out of bounds. There's no attack mode. It's like a preventative offense. Like, I've never seen an offense run a prevent offense. I feel like Rich Kotite is coaching our offense in 96. Like, there's nothing to attack. There's no excitement in the offense. Maybe once in a while, Garrett makes the first guy miss, and we all go, ooh, because we don't see anything exciting. I can't believe we're getting injury Brett Favre 2.0. At least Brett won 8 games to start. Like, we're getting worse than that.
That team was loaded and actually had good coaching on it, too. That was the difference.
It does. But we're getting Favre at the end of the season. We're getting where it's like head-scratching plays. He's not making the bad decisions that Favre made, but there's no excitement to this offense.
No, I mean, they never throw deep. There's no creativity in it. Rodgers clearly is like, doesn't want to get hit, so he's getting the ball out fast. And it's like, that will work if they had an elite running game that would set up play action. That would work if the defense was what it was last year, but they're not built for how this quarterback wants to play at this stage of his career. He's better than what they've had, there's no doubt, but he's not good enough to overcome the clear deficiencies this team has that we didn't think they were going to have this year.
Yeah. And you want to summarize the Jets? The most exciting play of the season was a fumbled touchdown end around. It's 20-yard end around. Nobody touched them. Rucker didn't have to block anybody. It was the most beautiful play we've run all year. Nothing out of it. That summarizes the Jets this year. And real quick, for those, and tell Joe, I'm off tomorrow. It's a holiday. I'll probably call in tomorrow if Joe's on. I can't do the Rex Ryan even thinking about it. You know why? We fired Saleh and we fired Rex for the same exact reasons. Not involved in the offense, only worried about one side of the field, couldn't develop anything on the offensive side of the ball, but we want to run that back? Why? We just lived the Rex Ryan years again with Saleh. We got up to a top 5 defense. We couldn't do anything on offense. We couldn't develop anyone on offense. We bring in all these names, and we can't build a goddamn scheme to score. You have Devontae and Garrett, and you score 6 points in a game? And not that it mattered. You're down, what was it? It was 24-6, and you go for it on 4th down. at the time you kicked the field goal because now you're only down 2 scores. You're down 15. Like, there's no logic. There's no rationale. Like, challenging a play later in the game. Like, Ulbricht's over his head, and I feel bad for him. You said it earlier. You usually promote somebody like Siaka with the Raiders. You promote the special teams guy. If you're going to get promoted to head coach, at least give it to White Cotton. Give it to somebody else where now you can be the head coach. I feel that they're doing things to put out fires, but they're like trying to put out the fire with gasoline, and it just spreads the fire more and makes it worse long term for us.
The Jets are like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Like they're just like they don't have a prayer. I mean, they're trying, but Woody tried. Right, he got Devontae. He tried. He got Reddick in the building, but like the infrastructure of this team is so goddamn poor. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like they're the worst coach team in the NFL. They were poorly coached with Salah. They are the worst coach team, I think, clearly in football right now. Yeah. Without Salah. And that's obvious. Like the Carolina Panthers all of a sudden have won a couple games in a row with Bryce Young looking better. Like Dave Canales would have a better record with this team than Jeff Ulbrich. That's a fact.
Yeah. And defensively, there's nothing exotic. It's we're going to put our 4 guys down. We're going to go. So what do? You run all your guys deep, dump off a screen underneath. You're getting 7-8 yards minimum. And then we're missing tackles and they're turning it in. It was 1st and 17, and they got the first down on like the first freaking play because they dumped off a little screen. We can't tackle. It's maddening. And you know me. I'm the most positive, optimistic Jets fan there is. And when you're done, I'm going on, and I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. Everyone who's been asking for it, it's finally going to happen. Tonight's the night. I'm done. And you know it's bad when I'm done, Jake, because you roll your eyes at me sometimes. I can't believe you still believe in this fucking team. But here I am. Now I'm done. And when I'm done, it gets ugly because I'm throwing everyone under the bus. I'm going scorched earth. I'm not even worried about monetizing the show because I know the way I'm going to curse and yell about this team, YouTube's going to be like, nah, dude. No commercial money for you tonight, pal. You cursed way too much at this team. It's horrible. And you want fans to pay for next year? I wouldn't take a free ticket right now. How are you asking fans to pay for next year? Like you said, we don't know who the owner is going to be. We don't know who the coach is going to be. We don't know who the GM is going to be. We don't know half the damn roster for next year, and you're raising prices? How do you have the nerve and the gall to do that? I hope every fan says, no, I'm not renewing. Today was the last straw. I'm not renewing. Let the season ticket salespeople call everybody and be like, no, with what you're putting out on the field, wait. You buy the cheapest ticket off of whatever app that you use, and then you just walk in an hour early before the game and go sit down low. Done. It's going to be empty there.
SeatGeek, promo code Jake Asman, save $20. So the tickets are $20 on SeatGeek. Go for free, promo code Jake Asman. Boom, you're welcome, America.
That's why I said whatever app you use, because I knew you had a sponsor ready to go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at us working together. Yeah, it's frustrating, man.
Hang in
God
there,
bless
man.
you for doing this. God bless you for doing it every day, man. You know I'll always support you with whatever you do. But once you start talking that Nick stuff, I'm taking a break. Text me when you're done talking that.
Have a great show tonight, Nick. I'll be watching.
Thanks, buddy. You're the best, man. Keep your head up and just keep being you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Shine, proud NYJ fan on YouTube. He'll be on right after me. So you want more misery? Come commiserate with Nick. This is a great job. David says these are the last 2 super chats here. Then we will wrap up a 3-hour post game here. Beningo at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Joe Jetko and Jaron Rodgers, Battle of the Statues. At least that game's not in primetime. Imagine 3-7 Jets versus 4-6 Colts in primetime. Alan Hernandez. What was Jody's plan on defensive tackle? Solomon Thomas, come on. I mean, he lets JFM go for nothing, and then the Jets were telling you that they believed Michael Clemens could fill in on that role. He could be this year's JFM because he sat behind him for 2 years. Give me a break. Wow, I just saw this. Javon Kinlaw just committed another goddamn penalty. Incredible. New Jersey says, I'm pissed, Jake. Join the club. There are 945 people watching on YouTube right now, and imagine they're all pissed too. I mean, this team couldn't coach out of a wet paper bag. They suck. Anyway, thank you all for the support. You guys are great. Hit the like button on your way out of here. Get your merch, your Jake Asman Show merch, jakeasman.com/shop. We will be sending Steven Ramos' young son a t-shirt to make up for his jet-themed birthday party being ruined today. So at least we'll get him some Asmaniac merch. Oh, hang in there, Jet fans. Hang in there. I will tell you it gets better, but I really don't think it does. I don't know if it does. I guess it can't get any worse, but I thought rock bottom was the Patriots game. This, I guess, is rock bottom. Must-win game to save your season. And that's what happened? Holy sh! Unreal. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Truly appreciate the support of the community. Before many of you check out on the season, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We hit over 40,000 last week, and that's a testament to how special this fan base is despite the lack of winning and happiness this team brings us. Hang in there, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. with the great Joe B.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
The Jets are going to come back.
No, they're not.
They're
never going to come back. They're never going to come back.